What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Good Morning Tottenham for you as we review the 1-0 loss yesterday to Brighton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Before we get into anything, we've already got a super chat from Bob Spur TV. Big up, Bob. He says, if only we had the same positivity during our great run as the knee-jerk negativity some of the fan base give after one defeat. Bad day, fourth is ours. I think that
positivity, Bob.
I think it's important to stay positive. I mean, with that Arsenal result, kind of got us out of jail a bit yesterday. Obviously, I know Man United won, but still, when you're looking at all three clubs' fixtures, you still back Spurs, don't you?
Of course, we still look. Thankfully, I know United won, but it's a bit as you were. I think. Thankfully, after Arsenal's defeat, I think Arsenal really after their 2 defeats in a week to Palace and Brighton, they really needed a positive result to kind of get back on track, and thankfully they lost, and that keeps us, I think, in pole position and favourites. But I think it was a bit of a wake-up call yesterday in terms of the reality of the quality of our squad. I think we've been doing super well of late. Obviously, we still won 7 of our last 10 games, which is still a pretty good run. And I think still Conte is getting a lot out of this team, but the flaws were there for all to see yesterday. Everything that we've been worried about in terms of no creativity in midfield and lack of a player who can take the ball on the turn when they're being pressed in midfield, and also the quality of our wing backs, especially without Doherty there, was there for all to see yesterday. We were completely dominated. To be honest, throughout the game, I think Brighton played a tactical masterclass on us. You have to give it to them. And I knew Potter's a clever manager. He'll have a plan for us. You know how we're going to play. And they played it to perfection. We didn't have a shot on target, and that's damning.
Yeah, and absolutely spot on. And all of a sudden, I know I said it's important to stay positive, but all of a sudden, I know Arsenal and Man United, but I'm just concentrating on Tottenham at the moment. All of a sudden, our next 3 or 4 games look quite difficult. You go to Brighton away next weekend, where Brentford away next weekend, where they're on really good form. They're winning every game at the moment since Christian Eriksen has come in. Then we got a home game against Leicester, which does seem winnable with their European exploits as well, and they're just not a very good away side at the moment. And then it gets even more difficult with Liverpool away, and obviously a very pivotal game against Arsenal at home. Obviously, when you're looking at Arsenal and Man United's fixtures, their fixtures look a bit harder. But when you're looking at just Tottenham's fixtures in an isolated situation, it looks like a difficult situation.
Yeah, it looks a bit, obviously, the end of the season against Burnley and Norwich, which is positive. And then we've got to think we have to be taking 6 points out of that. But this next run of fixtures is looking more difficult considering Brentford's run. Since Eriksen's coming to the sides, I think it's now, I'm not sure if it's 5 out of 5 or 6 out of 6 wins now for them ever since he started, and they're looking like they've recaptured their form of earlier in the season, where they got a very good draw against Liverpool, didn't they? And they were taking on all comers and very difficult to play against. They went for an iffy patch in mid-season, and it looks like they've come through that, and they're playing really good aggressive football like they were early in the season. So that's going to be a hard game, like very, very difficult game, especially off the back of a loss, where we're kind of losing that momentum. And then obviously Leicester at home, hopefully they'll be a bit too distracted from stuff, so you have to think we can win that. But then Liverpool are going for the title, and they're obviously Liverpool. It doesn't matter what team they put out, it's going to be an extremely difficult game. So all of a sudden it does change the landscape a bit, because Brighton was a game where you said that should be a 3-point banker, to be honest. It has to be, even though they beat Arsenal. But that's football. Sometimes there are twists where you don't expect. That always happens, and you got to get through that. We're still in pole position. We're still 3 points clear of Arsenal. They play their game in hand. They actually play twice before we play next, so it'll be interesting to see what the table looks like before we next play. They could be off the back of 2 losses, or they could be off the back of. Are they play twice or once? When do we play Brentford?
We play Brentford 5:30, and they play early.
Yeah, early on that day. Yeah. So they play twice or before we next play. So we could. It's very possible we could still be ahead of them with a game in hand, but it's also very possible we could be level on points, same games played. So
yeah, I mean, when you're looking at it, they've got their next 2 games: Chelsea away midweek. I mean, I can't see them winning that by any stretch of the imagination. And Man United is at home.
Yeah,
Man United at the Emirates. So that game is going to be an interesting game, because both of them just don't look like they want to win games at the moment. I know Man United won yesterday, but I think they got another get-out-of-jail-free card from Cristiano Ronaldo.
Exactly, you can't get one every game, but he definitely has provided many of them.
Their last 2 wins have been that, against us and against them, and against
him
Norwich.
Scoring a hat trick is like, it's very rare you get that,
and very rare he scores a free kick as well.
They were lucky, man. It wasn't just the 2 goals Norwich scored. De Gea had a brilliant game as well. They got so lucky to get the win, but look, they did get the win in the end, and they put themselves back in the conversation. But look, let's talk about yesterday's game.
All right, well, let's get into the match review. Obviously, we lost 1-0 to Brighton at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. There was a lot of positivity going into this game. I mean, I saw the vlog, Barry predicting 7-0 coming into it. I'm not sure if that was the beer talking or if that was actually his opinion. But
Butler was getting battered.
Yeah, of course he was. But I think there was a lot of positivity. I started the week saying we were going to win 5-0. I think every day it was decreasing from 4-0 to 3-0. And then I was saying to people the other night that I've actually got a bad feeling about this game, and I think that things just seem to be going too well for Tottenham at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing, because I was walking to the ground and the sun was shining, everyone was happy, everyone was feeling, no one was worried about the game, and everyone was thinking we were going to stroll and win the game. And I was saying to my uncle Adrian, our Uncle Adrian, I was saying, it's these kind of days where the sun's out, everything seems good.
Take your eye off the ball,
you can easily slip up, and I think yesterday we definitely did that. We were way too slow. We were way too lethargic on the ball. We weren't sharp enough whatsoever. The patterns of play that we've been synonymous with Conte weren't there. Brighton as well had a plan for us, which I knew Potter was going to come up with some sort of a way to play against us. And I said in the preview that although they didn't quite play exactly the same formation, but Villa played with clogging up the midfield. They play that very narrow diamond formation, 4 in the midfield, and they played with the 2 strikers. I'm not quite sure Brighton did that, but they clogged up the central areas and they forced us out wide, and we struggled badly to progress the game from on the wide areas, because I thought Lamptey and Cucurella up against Emerson and Reguilon had them for dinner pretty much throughout the whole game. They were very dominant. I didn't feel like Emerson and Reguilon were getting any sort of joy out wide. And then it's up to the central players to kind of show some quality, to find spaces in between that clogged up Brighton midfield to try and show their superiority. And Bentancur and Højbjerg were not able to do that. We weren't able to get the ball to them, really. And thus, we're not able to get the ball to them. The supply to the front three was non-existent. And then that led to us having 0 shots on target throughout the whole game. We weren't get any quality throughout the team. weren't able to get them on the ball whatsoever. We didn't change formation throughout the game. We pretty much kept it as it was. And Brighton were able to tactically manoeuvre the game in their favour. And it's not like they had chance after chance, although they had probably more chance. They definitely had more chance than us. It's not like Lloris had to make loads of saves, but they were happy with that. The onus wasn't on them to come and attack. They knew that they were probably happy leaving with a draw. Obviously, they left with 3 points with a late winner, but the onus was on us to change things and force the issue, and we didn't quite do that.
No, we didn't. And like you say, they clogged up the midfield, and I thought that I don't know why it was instruction or his own doing, but Kane didn't come back at all to help that midfield out. He didn't drop deep like he has been. Like we've had so much joy over the past couple of weeks when he has dropped back, gets Son in behind and stuff like that. It just wasn't happening for him. And every time we had it at the back, whenever we tried to play it into the midfield, they pressed us and got the ball off us, and we were losing the ball like that. How many times did Reguilon lose the ball or our defence lose the ball trying to play it out the back? And then when we didn't try to play it out back, we tried to go long, and we persisted with going long. And every time we went long, we lost the ball again. I mean, we just couldn't keep the ball for more than 2 minutes.
I think as
when
well,
we did keep the ball, it was just so slow and lethargic.
A lot of the times we were going long to Heung-min Son. I'm assuming that we were trying to get him in behind with runs, and that wasn't working whatsoever. I did feel, however, there were a few times we went long to Kane and he made it stick, and we actually then started to create some sort of difficulty for Brighton. But we didn't do that with any sort of quality consistently enough. We weren't able to get the ball into Harry Kane's chest or on his head anywhere near enough. And I actually think going direct definitely would have been a much more fruitful solution yesterday in that kind of game, because I did think Kane actually physically had the beating of Duncan Veltman when he went up for him, but we didn't do it, and not anywhere near enough, and that was really, really frustrating. And obviously when we tried to play through and we didn't, Basuma as well. Basuma was brilliant. I thought
unbelievable.
He dominated us in the centre, absolutely dominated us. I thought we couldn't get near him. There were times that the whole Brighton team we couldn't get near him, to be honest. That's what I say about that possession-based structure they have. It's very difficult to get the ball off and play against them, which is why, even though they were losing games, they weren't losing by much. They were, always lose by one goal, or it's always a tight game with Brighton. That's why I'm a big fan of Potter, because I think if you put his structure with better players, I think you can definitely get a good team there. But
the thing
is, he should have changed the formation because it wasn't working. You've got to at least match them up in the centre if you're getting bullied and you're not getting any joy out wide. I think you should have either get an extra body there in the centre in a 3-5-2 or go forward at the back.
The thing is like it was a first half. We've been poor in first halves recently, against Aston Villa, against Newcastle, Brighton again yesterday. And I thought, I wasn't too panicked at half-time because I thought it was just a theme that's been going on the last couple of weeks where we've been poor in first halves. Conte will make a few tweaks and we'll start creating more chances in the second half. But it was basically a carbon copy of the first half, the second half, and nothing really changed.
I would say it was a slight improvement in the second half. I don't think it was massive, but we did have, literally first half, we pretty much had 0 openings. I'd say second half, we did have the couple of chances, like Son was in the area, had a shot block. Højbjerg down the byline, he cut it across and we could have got a goal there. Lucas obviously had that one moment where he skinned Cucurella and his cross went into Sanchez's arms. It was slim pickings, but it's more than we had in the first half. Yeah. So there were a couple of opportunities in the second half we had, but it's nowhere near enough. And you're relying on those going away in a very tight game. And if they don't, then there's nothing else. And I think as well, another example of us needing a creative player in these situations who has the vision to unlock these defences, because as well as Højbjerg and Bentancur be won't put Kulusevski in that bracket, but in terms of it being in the central areas, as well as they've been doing, they're not players who are going to be constantly creating chances for you. They might create 1 or 2 in a game, like Højbjerg did yesterday, and like Bentancur, he can sometimes do it for you. He can make a good through ball, but he's not a player who's going to do that 4, 5, 6 times a game. And someone like Eriksen will. That's the quality that you need in these kind of games, and that's something we're badly lacking in this squad, and we're going to have to make do from now to the end of the season without it. And hopefully we've got enough in the squad to get us through to the end of the season, which, to be fair, last 10 games we've won 7 and we've scored a lot of goals. But if teams are getting wise to us in how we play and getting more used to our formation, which has been very inconsistent, haven't we? We're very predictable how we're going to play, aren't we? Very. Everyone knows how we're going to play. It's just about how you're going to stop it. Brian came up with a plan to stop it, and we weren't able to adapt our game. And I think that was a disappointment for me in terms of Conte's management of the game, because all right, fair enough, for an hour you keep it because that's how we play, and you have to try and have belief in the system. But after an hour, we were pretty much creating nothing, and I think the flaws were evident. And he's either got to do 2 things for me: either put an extra body in the central midfield so we actually can compete there, because we couldn't compete in centre mid. Every time we got to Højbjerg or Bentancur, they were being snuffed out by their central midfielders, and they were completely outnumbered. We weren't able to play through them. Or if you're going to keep it like that, you have to swap the fullbacks. Either you put Kulusevski at fullback and bring on Lucas, or you put Sessegnon on the right for me, because because we had no one taking on our men in our wing backs. Emerson and Reguilon refused to take anyone on. Whether it's confidence or quality, they refused to take on Lamptey and Cucurella. And that hurt us, because it meant every time we got it into space on the out wide, they got to a certain point and then passed it back. Always a certain point, passed it back. Or more often than not, giving it away. Yesterday
just showed us, didn't it? Showed us right in front of our eyes the need for new wing backs on both sides.
I think if you swap the wing backs of the teams, we probably win the game tomorrow.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. I thought their wing backs showed us what fullbacks or wing backs should be doing. I mean, Cucurella and Lamptey both had really strong games, especially Cucurella. And on our side, I thought both of our wing backs was poor, but especially Reguilon. I thought
Reguilon was anonymous.
Yeah, he had a shocking
anonymous.
yesterday.
At least Emerson, a few times he was making runs and he was trying to get involved, although the quality wasn't really there. Reguilon, it was like he was hiding yesterday. He didn't want the ball. He didn't show for it. His runs were not there at all. How many times did Reguilon get to the byline and put a cross in or anything like that? Hardly ever. How compared to Cucurella, how many times you saw him supporting the attack and getting involved with Brighton? Like it almost seemed like non-stop. And in those situations where the space is out wide, you need wing backs who can at least take someone on and commit players and open up spaces. And the problem with that is if you've got players like Emerson and Reguilon who aren't prepared to take people on, it makes...
I don't get it with Reguilon, though, because he's got the pace, he's got the the stamina to get up and down the pitch. He's got...
Lamptey's a very quick...
He's got the know-how to get past defenders, but it's a constant theme with Reguilon. It's not just the game yesterday. It's a constant theme with him, how he fails to take on the fullback.
Yeah. I think when he's in a back four, and then when the wing back has a... when the opposition wing back has a winger to deal with, I think it's a lot easier for him to find the spaces. But when he's at wing back, and I feel like it was Lamptey's responsibility to deal with Reguilon, and I think he found it easy. Right, like
very easy.
Like Lamptey is probably just as quick as Reguilon. Reguilon doesn't have a box of tricks up his sleeve really to get past him. He just relies on his pace. And I thought Lamptey it was simple for him to deal with Reguilon. He didn't have to do anything hard or difficult. He just matched him stride for stride, and I didn't even bother taking him on. It seemed. But in these situations, you need wing backs who are going to commit players and open up spaces. Because if they're just going to pass it back, or if they're just going to make it easy for the opposition wing backs, then it's very easy for the opposition defenses to be settled in their back four and not have to think too much about what they're doing. They just stick their positions, make sure the guy doesn't get a cross in. They know that he's not going to beat you. So it's very easy to have that structure and keep it, which is why I would have put someone like Session on the right, because it asks a different question of the defense. He can either cut inside or go on the outside. He can commit plays. He's quite a decent. He's a much better dribbler, I think, than Emerson or Reguilon in how he dribbles. So that's what I would have done, to maybe ask a different question, or put Kulusevski at wing back and go a bit more attacking. Yeah, you're opening yourselves up a bit, but at least you're asking a much different question to the Brighton back four. We didn't ask enough questions at all.
Ask hardly any questions, to be honest.
The only thing we did was put Lucas on for Kulusevski, like for like, pretty much. Added a bit of pace, but his control yesterday was horrific.
Hey, Lucas has been really bad since Kulusevski has come on. Every cameo, apart from maybe barring one, when he got that assist for Bergwijn, and even that was a bit lucky. He's been shocking. And what does Bergwijn need to do to get more than a couple of minutes here and a couple of minutes there? Why is Lucas always our first substitute? I mean, isn't it clear to see that Bergwijn is the player on form more than Lucas?
Yeah, it does make sense to me. Maybe it's because Lucas is more comfortable on the right and he didn't want to take off Son until late. But I would have, at that stage of the game, I don't understand why he's taking off Son. Why doesn't he take off? I would have taken off Reguilon and put either Bergwijn a wing back or just gone for the back. Why doesn't he do that and really try and go for the goal? It did worry me a bit after the game, where Conte said yesterday was a type of game where if you can't win it, you definitely don't lose it. And I understand what he's saying, but I feel like he didn't do enough to try and win the game. I think there was a few things he could have done to try and really ask different questions of Brighton and maneuver our attackers into different kind of spaces to gain more control of the game. Whereas yesterday, we didn't. We took the two subs we made, or Lucas for Kulusevski, Bentancur for Winks. It's just like for like. It was not there. There was nothing that was going to ask different questions of Brighton. The midfield was going to be the same structure, so it was still going to be Boston midfield. The wing backs he didn't change, so we're still not getting any joy out wide. The only joy we did get is that one time Lucas hit the byline and nearly got a bit. He beat Cucurella, to be fair, which was a good piece of play. The cross obviously went to the keeper, but that was the only time. And unless he was doing that multiple times, there was no point in doing a sub like that. You got to at least tactically ask a different question of Potter. And that's what I was a bit frustrated with Conte. He didn't change it. He didn't change the formation. I think I think for me,
he was crying out for it.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest I wouldn't say, I don't know. Yeah, biggest flaws yesterday, our biggest troubles were structurally. Structurally, we were being outdone by Brighton. It wasn't because they had better players, although I think at wing back they did. I think the structure emphasised their better players at wing back, but I don't think it's because Brighton, man for man, have better players. It wasn't that. It was just structurally, Potter had them set up in a way to stifle us, which was working, and we didn't ask a different question. Say, okay, you stifled us with this way. Now we're going to do this. Now we're going to get more dribblers at wing back. Now we're going to add an central mid, and you're going to have to dominate still with 3 centre mids instead of 2. Now we're going to go 4 at the back or something. We didn't do that at all. We kept it the same way. It was predictable, and in the end, when the goal came, it wasn't undeserved.
It wasn't undeserved, but it was still shocking at the back from us, that goal.
I don't know what Romero was doing.
Absolute comedy of errors at the back. I mean, Romero wins the ball back, fair enough, but then he overruns it, stumbles, and then it falls to Trossard. Trossard completely turns Dyer inside out. I don't know what Dyer's doing, to be honest. Romero and Dyer, both absolutely shocking.
I think he tried to show him on his... I think Dyer tried to show him onto his left.
He fakes a shot. Dyer turns his back, and then he gets in.
He completely done him. He completely did Dyer. I think maybe it was, I don't know, because 90th minute they seemed lethargic, man, tired. Like the way Romero stumbled, he just seemed tired. But why? You're playing 1 game a week.
There's no excuses to be tired.
I don't understand why they seem so lethargic. And then another thing, if you're gonna, in terms of the way we played as well, if we're going to try and get past this way the Brighton was set up, you have to make sure you're playing the ball super quick.
Yeah.
And making sure
playing it super slow.
Really slow. Painfully slowly. Like everyone was taking 3-4 touches on the ball, just strolling it around. Romero wasn't attacking the spaces like he usually does when there's spaces in front of him. He was just going long or playing poor passes and giving it away. When we were trying to suck Brighton in, we weren't able to play those patterns of play to get out of trouble like we have been in previous games. It was really poor from Spurs yesterday. And look, we ended the game with 0 shots on target.
Do you think
unheard of?
Do you think with Conte obviously not having time on the training pitch and how it's been really important for Conte to get a whole week on the training pitch with the players, do you reckon that played anything into the game yesterday?
The fact that we did have a whole week.
The fact that we didn't, because Conte had COVID and he wasn't on the training pitch for the whole week.
I don't know. I don't know if
because Conte's been playing into the fact how important it is for him to have a week on the training pitch. I know,
but apparently he was still there in training.
Yeah, from afar. I mean, I don't know how much coaching he can do from afar like that.
I'm sure he's still involved.
But there must be a difference between him being fully immersed on the training pitch than to him just standing back and overlooking from afar.
Maybe, but Dyer after the game claims that they knew how Brighton were going to set up and they planned for it all week, and they still couldn't do anything about it. I don't know. I guess that's speculation. I don't know if that plays a role in it, but maybe the fact that he wasn't as close to his players as usually might have played a role, but that's not an excuse.
No, I get that. It's not an excuse. And a couple of key moments in the game, the 2 sending-offs or non-sending-offs. I mean, Kulusevski, first and foremost, I thought definitely should have been sent off. You could see the intent there. He clearly swung his elbow with massive intent there. And I don't know how he didn't see the red, to be honest.
I think he's lucky Cucurella didn't go down, because I think Cucurella goes down pretending he's hurt. Then he gets sent off.
He didn't make much contact, but the intent was clearly there.
Yeah, but I think that's why he got away with it, because he didn't make too much contact with Cucurella. And that is the big difference, I think.
He never seemed to recover in the game after that, Kulusevski.
That was clearly born out of frustration, wasn't it? That was probably his poorest game in a Tottenham shirt, you have to say, Kulusevski. But then again, the whole team, that was probably our poorest performance since he's been in the team.
And Mwepu obviously gets that yellow card. High boot into Davis's face. Nothing. And then he swipes the back of, I think, was it Højbjerg's ankle? And nothing again. I don't understand how Mwepu doesn't get sent off there. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I thought that was a joke. I thought it was an absolute joke. Which referee gives a player 2 final warnings when they've just been booked? The high boot was an offence in itself, a clear yellow card, absolute yellow card. No referee doesn't book a player in that situation. It was clear yellow card, and then then he swipes Højbjerg's ankle. Right on the stroke of half time, and he is so lucky that the referee was just in a good mood or something, because I think. Maybe he gets away with it if that was in isolation, But the fact that it was just off the back of him high booting Davis means he has to go. He had to be sent off, and he was so lucky to stay on the pitch. So I think Mwepu massively got away with one there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the top 4 race, it did blow it wide open for a small stage. And Arsenal obviously lost to Southampton. Man U got the result against Norwich, but Man U a bit closer now. But we got away with one yesterday massively.
Yeah, I think Arsenal, having seen the game and the saves Forster made, I think we definitely did get away with one because he was man of the match, Fraser Forster. I don't think Arsenal were particularly amazing, but the saves they made Forster make, they'll be really unhappy that he didn't go on and win the game, especially that Southampton scored against run of play. So we definitely got lucky with Arsenal's defeat. Obviously, Ronaldo turned up for United and got that hat-trick. He bailed them out of jail yet again. So they'll feel like they're back in the race, only 3 points behind. But they go Liverpool. Their next 2 games are Liverpool, Arsenal, and they've got Chelsea as well to play. So they've got extremely difficult fixtures coming up, and how many points they'll get out of those games, remains to be seen. Fixture-wise, we're still in the driving seat. In terms of the table, we're still in the driving seat with still 3 points ahead. I know Arsenal have a game in hand, but that'll be wiped out this week when they play Chelsea. We'll see how they go in that game. If they get a win, fair play to them. But even if they do get a win, we're still above them. Mm-hmm. So, look, advantage, thankfully, still Tottenham. But this was a massive wake-up call in the top 4 race. And everyone, look, you had people in our pre-match fan show saying the top 4 race is already done. Mm. They were that confident. And if this is not a wake-up call, there's still many twists and turns, and we still have to keep up our standards. If this isn't a wake-up call, then you're not going to get a bigger one than losing at home to Brighton, especially with 0 shots on target. I think that's the most worrying thing, is the fact that we had 0 shots on target and we had such a lack of creativity in the game, and we didn't have any answers to the questions Brighton posed. That was the most worrying thing, because considering how our last 2 games have gone, really poor in first halves, but we've turned it around in the second half. The fact we weren't able to do that puts a doubt in your mind whether these first halves are going to be more indicative of what happened from now to the end of the season, or is it going to be how we've turned it around in the second half?
We need Doherty back, man. We need Doherty. We missed him so badly yesterday. So badly. I mean, he's the only one of our wing backs that can actually go and create something.
Yeah.
The only one that's shown it anyway.
He could also, as I said against, I was saying in the pre-match show, Doherty as well, against Everton, he showed that actually, when we have the ball, he can also step into midfield and provide an extra option there, and actually might be able to create something when he does get in those positions. Emerson's never in a million years.
Emerson's too limited. He's way too limited.
He's just too limited of a footballer, man.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Technically, you're never quite sure whether he's going to control it when you pass it to him and stuff. First of all, there are a number of times yesterday where he was the best option to play it to, and they didn't play it to him. I don't know whether these players don't trust him. But there was one moment where Dyer had Son to his left with a much more difficult ball. He had 2 men on him, but he was running in behind, and then he had Emerson in acres of space, completely free, and he went for Son. And I was like, and obviously the pass didn't come off, and Emerson was like, "Come on, why didn't you pass to me?" And I don't know. I felt like there was a moment where maybe they don't trust him because they know the move more likely than not breaks down when it gets to Emerson.
Yeah.
And that is very worrying. And yeah, he's never going to do what Doherty sometimes does, which is when he steps into midfield. And you wouldn't trust him to do that either. Would you, for example, those couple through balls that Doherty did against Everton, do you think Emerson's ever going to be capable of that?
He doesn't have it in his locker.
Just like vision-wise and ability to pull it off.
He doesn't have it in his locker, and with Doherty out for the rest of the season, that does send alarm bells a bit, and we got to find a solution. And maybe that solution is Sessegnon at right wing back.
That's what I'll try. Because at least he's a lot more comfortable on the ball, and I think it asks different questions of the wing backs than Emerson does. I think if at least for Sessegnon, I'm sure he's going to be more more willing to take people on than Emerson is. And as much as Reguilon was awful as well, unfortunately, I think we have to persist with him because I don't think
we don't have options.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think it'll be better to have Sessegnon on the right and Reguilon on the left than to have Sessegnon on the left and Emerson on the right. I think it just changes it up a bit more if we have Reguilon on the right for me. So that's the thing. And yeah, when it comes to Bergwijn, again, he actually came on. He had that chance right at the end, which he should have scored. But at least he fluffed it. But he was there, making something happen. There was one moment as well where the ball was played into him, and he was able to hold off the defender and lay it off and create another opportunity, which no one did throughout the whole game. By the way, I was
calling for Bergwijn on the watch long from about 50 minutes in. Literally 5 minutes after the second half started, I was calling for Bergwijn. I don't understand. He came on the 87th minute yesterday.
Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense.
What does he have to do to get more minutes? I mean, what is Lucas Moura showing in the games that he's playing in to be the first sub or second sub this time, every time?
Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me. So, and as well, when we need a goal, I don't know why he takes off Son. I mean, I know Son was not having a great game, but I think you have to keep them both on and really try and force it.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
You do. Son's a goal scorer. Son's a goal scorer. You don't take a goal scorer off when you're trying to get a goal in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. So that was really frustrating. Okay, I guess we'll talk about the only high point for me of the game was Højbjerg.
Yeah.
I think he was the one who really was keeping up his standards and was actually playing pretty well throughout the game and trying to make something happen.
He can't do it on his own, can he?
Nearly got an assist as well near the end where he slides a brilliant pass across the face of goal. Reguilon was inches away from it. He did really well to get there as well. But few and far between in terms of quality throughout the squad. And I just want to talk about Kane because I thought it wasn't just that he wasn't coming deep, but when the ball felt, he did a couple of good things, but by and large, when the ball was near him, there was something completely off with him.
I felt Brighton did a massive job on him yesterday.
But he looked like tired. He was just like lethargically swinging his leg at things.
Well, maybe he shouldn't be going to America to watch the golf in the back end of a busy season.
There were like times where there were like little simple passes, which usually he's perfect. He's like perfect in everything he does. But like he was under hitting them or over hitting them and wasn't able to get into the game. Conte. Apparently before the Villa game said, if you win this game, I'm going to give you a day off. So that's why he went there. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. Obviously, people will point at that. But especially, if he's going to do that and then he puts in a performance like that, people are always going to say, oh, you shouldn't have gone to the golf, whatever. Things like that. And maybe that is something. But he was, I thought, so lethargic yesterday. It was something really strange. The only good things for me was a couple of times the ball was direct into him and he was able to make it stick, and then we were able to do stuff.
Few and far between, though.
It was like I'm talking maybe twice in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Look, let's be honest. It was a bad day at the office. It was a shocking display all round. But in terms of the top four race, it hasn't really affected too much. It's just a missed opportunity where we could have extended our lead at the top.
And even if Arsenal would have won, we still would have been ahead of them, and it wouldn't have been, even if Arsenal would have won, it wouldn't have been fatal. Thankfully, they lost, so it's kind of just as you were in the top four race. But look,
they must be kicking themselves
for sure.
Arsenal.
They will, of course, they've lost 4 out of 5 now, like we did in February.
3 in a row.
3 in a row. I guess,
and this is the 3 in a row. This is that easy run, by the way.
Yeah, before the difficult run. And to be fair, if a West Ham win today, they'll probably think they're back in it because they'll be 3 points behind, won't they?
Yeah.
But I doubt. But they'll be 3 points behind with having played a game more.
2 games more, no? After today.
Is it how many games? Is it 2 games more? After today, will be maybe you're right. How many games have you played now? 31 or 32? Yes, they've played 32 now. So it'll be 1 game more.
Okay.
I guess the only thing for sure now, without any shadow of a doubt, is for certain, is that Chelsea are getting top 3.
And also, when you're looking at the teams in the top 4 race, I'm not really going to count West Ham in this, but you're looking at us, you're looking at Arsenal, you're looking at Man United. Man United, you can never rule them out because they've got a match winner in Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yeah.
You can't really rule us out because we've got match winners in Kane and Son.
And we're the 4th.
And we're in 4th. Arsenal, they don't really have those match winners. They're struggling to score goals at the moment.
They've scored 1 goal in their last 4.
Exactly. So I think Man United, because no one's really been talking about them recently. I know they struggled to beat Norwich yesterday, but with a goal scorer and a match winner like Cristiano Ronaldo, you can't not rule them out.
Yeah, because it just means if they're ever in a tight game, they know that they have that player who can turn it for them and score a goal out of nothing or get something for them. Whereas Arsenal, like yesterday, they're in a tight game where they're 1-0 down and they didn't have the quality to win. And I know, obviously, you could say the same about us, but at least we've shown that we have goal scorers in our team.
Yeah, but ours is like, when you're looking at the past 5 games or 6 games, whatever it is, that's like a one-off for us. That's like a constant theme for them.
And to be fair, even Arsenal at their best, at their very best this season, when they were winning games,
was by the odd goal.
Exactly,
here and
1-0.
there, yeah.
For example, when they beat Villa, you know, they get a lucky goal from Saka and they just get over the line. When they beat Wolves at one time, lucky goal from scrambled in from a corner and they see the game out. When those things aren't going for you and those kind of lucky moments dry up, and you're then relying on a very young defence to keep solid.
And that's why their season has gone in waves like that. When you look at, they get over the line sometimes in these kind of games when they get, you know, lucky goals from set pieces and stuff like that. But then when that dries up, they struggle to score for 5 games, like at the beginning of January. And now it's happening again.
We just have to hope that doesn't happen to us. Thankfully, we have the players that you'll be confident we can just put this game behind us and come back. But, you know, Brentford's not going to be an easy game. They especially away from home, the way they're playing at the moment, it's not going to be an easy game. So we have to hope that we go into that game full of confidence. We go back to how we were playing before and be sharper. Not let the game. I felt like yesterday we're just letting the game drift by without a care in the world. It was like, oh, we'll probably get a goal from somewhere. It's only 0-0. We'll force the issue late on or something. But you can't let games drift like that. And that was the first time in a while we had done that. Just let the game drift us by and not try and show urgency or intensity. It was like play it slowly, take 3-4 touches, chill out. You know, it wasn't good enough. And hopefully,
it was like they were sunbathing yesterday. Yeah. The sun was too strong for everyone yesterday.
And hopefully that's the last time it happens, because if we let it carry on like that, then we will have blown up what is a very good opportunity right now to get in the top 4, and we still have that, thankfully. But look, I have to say about Arsenal, as much as they've been poor over the last, maybe not against Palace, but against Brighton and Southampton, as much as they lost, they probably played better than we did yesterday, and they were the ones creating chances and forcing keepers into saves and stuff like that. So, you know, 9 times out of 10 in that game yesterday for Arsenal, they win. They were very unlucky that they came up against a keeper in inspired form. So, you know, I know they've got Chelsea, United, West Ham, but they've also got other games apart from that which they could easily win. So, you know, it's far from over. It's far from over. I think the dream of it being over before the North London derby is quickly disappearing.
Yeah, well, if we would have won yesterday...
Yeah, we missed a massive opportunity.
If we would have won yesterday, that could have been the case. But unfortunately, it wasn't. We did lose yesterday. We need to get back on track next weekend against Brentford. But look, that is our match review. A nice long one for you guys. And now let's just read a couple of super chats. Then we'll get into the Antonio's press conference. Super chat here saying the game plan made no sense. We stayed defensive, waiting for Brighton to attack, then kicked long, which was encouraging them to hang back too.
Yeah, I think Brighton were wary that we like to sucker in the opposition. I think they knew we were trying to do that when we always play it backwards. We would do it very deliberately, and we did it again yesterday a lot of the time. Just play it backwards to the 3 centre-backs, sucker them in, and then get some quick combinations and get up the pitch quickly. They planned for it, and we had no answer to when that was being stopped.
And Scorpion Fan for Life says we needed to play 3-5-2 yesterday. I mean, that would have made a big difference if we did play 3-5-2, but we just don't have the manpower to start with a 3-5-2.
The problem is, first of all, that, and second of all, it's very difficult when things are not working and we're needing a goal to then take off one of our 3 attackers for a central midfielder. Optically, it just doesn't look great, does it? Like if we're taking off Kulu, Son or Kane for Harry Winks and making it a 3-5-2.
Unless we started with a 3-5-2.
Unless he takes off Emerson and puts Kulu at wing back and then go to a 3-5-2 in that way, maybe that's more palatable. But imagine the reaction of the fans yesterday if we go for a 3-5-2 on the hour, take off Kulusevski and put on Winks, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but, you know, maybe we should have started with 3-5-2.
Yeah, you say that, but we're winning game after game playing 3-4-3, and that's how we're looking at our best at the moment. So from that point of view, why change it? You know, people say don't change a winning team. Yeah. Obviously, that's why they paid the big money, but we didn't. But you know, we didn't necessarily know that Brighton were going to go 4 at the back. So they went 3 at the back against Arsenal, and they changed it for us. So it was a bit of a surprise in a way as well. So that's why I don't blame him for starting 3-4-3.
Vasif Mamadov says West Ham will be above Arsenal if they win today. Is that right? They go above them?
On goal difference, maybe. Yeah, they do. With a win, they go above them on goal difference.
So Arsenal going to 7th if West Ham win today.
That's incredible. But obviously Arsenal will have 2 games in hand and will be level on points.
But the 2 games in hand against Chelsea and us.
Correct.
So
no guarantees.
No
but
guarantees,
they just need 1 point. No. But look, West Ham win and Burnley at home as well. Not going to be an easy, but if they do manage to get a win, they'll probably fancy it. Not as they've still got. I think they've still got pretty tough fixtures as well. So I don't think. Look, as long as it's 3 points, you've got to say they're in the race.
I got to say yesterday, I'm sure we'll get into it, but I was so down after we won yesterday, and that ever since Southampton scored that goal, just like made me chill out a bit.
There was only one thing that I said. There was only one thing that can cheer up my weekend, and I was following up what the Arsenal loss, and thankfully it happened for us. So we got to thank our lucky stars that it happened. And
and Arsenal social media was brilliant yesterday. AFTV was brilliant yesterday. I had my popcorn ready. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, thankfully that worked in our favour. And I think that loss, obviously the loss makes our loss not seem as bad, but you still got to be wary that we, as much as they lost, we played much worse. So we have to make sure that we are solving these issues that we had.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's get into Antonio Conte's press conference from the game yesterday.
Vamos. Ay. Good afternoon.
Jeremy, do you want to start us off?
Hi, Antonio. Terrible results and a performance. I mean, how do you explain that?
Yeah, but for sure not a good result for us. And a lesson that we can learn today, that there are games that if you are not able to go to win, you are not to lose. And it was very, very clear that today it wasn't our day. But I understand that we want to try to get 3 points because it was very important for us to get 3 points to play before of the other our rivals in the race for the Champions League. But sometimes we need to feel. And today the game was very difficult. Was very difficult because it was a tactical game for both sides, and Brighton was very good to close every space. I think that we helped our opponent in this job because we moved the ball slowly, and I think that we are able to do much better than today. Maybe the final result more fair was a draw, but Brighton played a really good game and is a really good team, well organized and with a good manager. And you don't win if you win against Arsenal and Tottenham away. It means that the team is a good team.
How damaging is it for your top 4 hopes?
But and damages, and you can't add 3 points in your table. And this is the more damage that you have after this game. And then for sure you have to go to analyze very well why we started, and we started very slow, and we played a game that, in my opinion, we can do much better than we showed today.
How do you explain no shots on target in the whole game?
Yeah, but I think that Brighton was very good to close every space, and we were not so good to find the space. And I repeat, in the difficulty, we have to to try to find the solution also with a single player. And yeah, but today I think that we can do much better.
You mentioned it was a tactical game.
Yeah.
In what respects do you think?
Yeah, it was a tactical game, but after I have seen the game against Arsenal, was very clear in my mind the way that Brighton were going to play against us, and Brighton was good to close every space, but I repeat, if you move the ball in a slow way, and you help your opponent to close the space, because you give the opportunity to slide and to occupy the space that to have to occupy with your players if you move the ball quickly. And yeah, I think that we have to try to do much better than today. We have to know that we are in this race for a Champions League. I think that maybe not many people waited this, but we are into this race because we show that we deserve to stay there. But now we have to continue. Because once you reach a good position in the table, and then you have to try to keep this position, and it's a good opportunity also for us to cope with pressure, because when you arrive and then you know that you stay in a fantastic target for you, or you are winning the league and you are fast, and then you have to cope with the pressure, with the other results. And I think this is a good opportunity for us to improve, because I think this group of players needed about this type of exams for improvement.
Just wanted as well, last week there was the tackle on Doherty, some big tackles today. Do you think the laws are correct as they are? Do you think the players get enough protection from tackles from opposition players?
No, I think that sometimes I think that the referees has to pay more attention and to protect players, because I understand that you go and you take the ball, but if you go to take half ball and half body and you make damage the players, it's not the same. I think for the safety of the players, and the referees has to pay great attention to understand, because I repeat, and you go to take the ball, but when you take the ball and the whole body and you make damages your opponent, I think you have to make a big punishment to the players. I was player, I know the way to do. If I want to make a problem, an opponent, an injury, okay, I find the right time to go the ball and the total body. I was player, I know this. And instead to take only the ball, I go the ball. But he has taken the ball. Yeah, he has taken the ball, but he broke the leg also.
Did you feel that Brighton deliberately slowed the game down? Every time there was a tackle, they seemed to roll around a bit and then just frustrating the crowd. I think that was a deliberate tactic almost.
I think Brighton played the game that they prepared very well to play a tactical game and to try to close every space. At the end, they reached a great result, and they won the second game in a row, before against Arsenal and now against Tottenham. But we are talking about a team that they are showing. They showed in this season to be a really good team, well organized, and they are well prepared.
They sort of stopped the game flowing. There was no real flow to the game because it was every sort of 30 seconds was a foul or stopping.
Yeah, but in this type of situation, I think that the referees have to be more good, and because it's normal if you are playing and you know that you can get 1 point at the end, they got 3 points, and you understand that sometimes to make to lose the intensity of the game, and with a player to stay lie, and yeah. But I think there are the referees that they have to try to give continuity and don't break the intensity of the game with fake injuries.
Did you feel the yellow card was fair, Antonio, for Kulusevski? The yellow card, was that fair, or was he perhaps a little lucky not to get a red card?
But honestly, I didn't see now. But for sure, I'm going to see what happened. Yeah, I think maybe also that during the game, I think maybe other players deserved the second yellow card. About Brighton, but I think the referee used he decided in this way. But I repeat, and we have to accept the decision of the referee.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, so that was every word Antonio Conte did have to say on the game yesterday. Anything from you?
Yeah, I mean, he was saying how he was asked why we had no shots on target, and it was pretty much what we were saying. Like, we struggled to find the spaces in the we struggled to find the spaces within Brighton, and Brighton were very good at closing down the spaces. They seemed to be just full of confidence at the moment, the way they were playing. And we were not good.
Especially with their fans.
Yeah.
North London is ours.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give it to them. Fair
Even the
enough.
official account tweeted it as well.
You got to give it to them. They won twice in North London in a row. But I'm sure, thankfully he wasn't going nuclear as he did after Burnley. But I'm sure he'll be angry with what he saw, and hopefully he'll come up with some solutions in midweek. And maybe he probably felt like, I gave these bastards a day off, and after the Villa game, and I wasn't as close to them in training, and they got away with too much. These people.
Apparently they got another day off today.
Yeah, that's what I read. Because apparently Conte has family here or something. But,
Yeah.
Look, we've got another 6 days till the game, so I'm sure there's enough time to get it right.
Definitely. All right, now it's time to go and look how social media reacted to the game yesterday. We'll start off with Twitter, and then we're going to look at Reddit as well today, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll try.
Just give us a few minutes while we're getting that
sorted.
sorted.
Reason it's disconnected again. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, just give us a few minutes while we're getting that sorted. But yeah, I think a few people just getting it spot on about how sluggish we looked, and how low the energy levels were yesterday. And that's what I didn't understand from the team yesterday, why the energy levels were so low. It didn't make sense to me. Like we were playing one game a week, and we looked like so tired yesterday. And then you're looking at Brighton. They look like the team they're challenging for top 4 yesterday. We look like the team that are on the beach and didn't have anything to play for yesterday. Just didn't make sense in my mind yesterday. It really didn't.
Why is it not? It's not connecting. Give me a sec.
I thought we had it.
We did, and it just disconnected randomly. Just give me a second. Do you think maybe as well, when it comes to yesterday, like everyone was saying how, not everyone, but you heard a few people saying that we are scoring with every shot on target we're having, and that's unsustainable. Maybe that as well is. I know we had no shots on target, but there's also something that maybe with the way we were scoring goals, we got a bit overexcited as to how sustainable it was to have that kind of hit rate consistently.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Yes, because we were scoring with like 85% of our shots on target. But yesterday we just couldn't create or even get a shot on target, which was the damaging thing. So I don't think that really played into it yesterday, to be honest. So there's
yeah, we're ready now.
All right, we're going to be ready for you guys in a second. Just bear with us, and we'll go and see how Twitter reacts. So we'll start off with Twitter, then we'll move on to Reddit, but let's get into it.
All right, so first of all, Skip spotted yesterday outside the ground, looking happy in the sunshine. I'm sure he wasn't this smile was on his face after the game, but good to see him. Hopefully he recovers well. I don't know if this fan asked him if he's going to be back this season, but he has been found. He is alive, which is good to know. There he is there. So that was good. Where is it? Arteta yesterday saying Arsenal missed a huge opportunity after Spurs defeat. He said, "I'm very disappointed and difficult to explain, but this is what makes this sport different because, again, in basketball, you have 25 shots and the opponent has one. You win 10 out of 10 times." So Arteta was very frustrated yesterday with Arsenal's result. But what do you think of when he says they missed a huge opportunity? Do you think he's very frustrated with when you say things like that? I think a lot of managers usually will say, "Look, we lost, but the way we played, if we keep playing like that, we'll win more games and stuff like that." But he seems to be getting more nervous that they're not going to get top four.
Yeah, I mean, the facts of the matter is, I think if this was earlier on in the season, maybe he would have used that. But now it's, games are running out for him now. And he would have looked 3 games ago and thinking like it's imperative for us to get points here because points are not guaranteed in the run that they've got now. So, yeah, time is running out and it is a massive missed opportunity.
You see below, Troy Parrott scored yet again.
Oh, he scored again yesterday, did he?
Again for MK Dons. A really nice goal as well. Really good run and finish. I don't know if I can show the full thing, but a really good goal by Troy Parrott. He seems to be on a really good run.
4 games in a row now where he scored a goal.
Yeah, and good goals, like really good finishes as well. So big up Troy Parrott, another goal for him.
Do you think he comes back next season to play a bit in the first team, or do you think another loan next season? Maybe a championship.
I still think championship loan next season to see how what level he's on. Then once he's had a season,
well in the championship, then he can come back.
100%. Man United's final 6 games, they got Liverpool, Arsenal, Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, and Palace. Palace away last game of the season as well. So not a very easy fixture list, despite their win against Norwich yesterday. So. I know they've put themselves back in it, but they've got a lot of tougher tests than Norwich at home to come, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of lucky about the fixture scheduling. Like this week is going to be a fun week, isn't it? Because we got to watch Arsenal against Chelsea and Man United go away to Liverpool as well.
Well, hopefully it'll be a fun week. I hope they don't pull off any surprises.
Yeah, let's hope so. And I think we're bringing you guys a watch along this week, aren't we, for that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. We'll do that in midweek. We're doing a watch along. Brighton, according to Match Today, say Brighton are only the 2nd team in Premier League history to win at both Arsenal and Tottenham in consecutive Premier League games. And it's something KPV was saying in the pre-game. He was saying, "No way Brighton do another Hull. No way they do another Hull." And guess what? They did another Hull.
He came on the post-match show and was like, he said, "Oh, they did another Hull. Hull's wrong."
Fair enough for KPV. But look, a very rare occurrence, them coming. Charlie Eccleshare tweeting saying, after I think this is after Brighton's, after Southampton's win against Arsenal, that's why I said Brighton wasn't a must-win game for Tottenham. They're competing with a broken Arsenal and a dysfunctional Man United. It's not Liverpool versus City for the title.
Absolutely spot on there. Absolutely spot on.
So maybe that's why he wasn't so as worried as everyone else with the defeat. Look, and it was still in the driving seat for top 4. Between the Post says a candidate for ugliest pass map of the season. This was Tottenham's pass map yesterday. This is very reminiscent of Jose Mourinho, isn't it? This pass map, because he literally got Kane and
yesterday reminded me of Nuno ball, man.
Yeah, with no shots on target. But look, it's literally Kane and Son up front, and then everyone else like very central, just like clogging up the central areas. And also, you notice here, usually the wing backs are a lot higher up, aren't they? Then you can see here they're quite deep. That was also a problem. And Kulusevski, look how deep he is.
Yeah.
Very close to Emerson Royale.
I mean, and that's credit to Brighton and the way they set up and the way they frustrated us and the way they had the game plan played to perfection, really.
Yeah. And the central area is very congested, and that was a big part of the problem. Since the 16-17 season, Spurs have failed to register a single shot on target in just 2 Premier League games, at home to Man United this season and at home to Brighton. So twice this season now, we've not had a shot on target, which is worrying. And that's what got Brighton. That's what got Nuno the sack, isn't it?
Yeah,
I don't think Conte's there.
And this is against Brighton. It's not against Manchester United.
Yeah, 100%. Has to be looked at. Charlie X shows again says Arsenal have been far Spursier than Tottenham over the last decade. Since holding their nerve to pip Spurs to 4th place in 2013, they've collapsed spectacularly in every tight race they've been in for top 4 in 16, 17, 18, 19, and now this season. And the title in 15-16 could add to the title race in 13-14 as well. He says, however, Arsenal have won 4 FA Cups in that time, beating Chelsea, City and Chelsea in semi-finals and finals of those 2 wins, while Spurs have faltered in the side of silverware, so maybe not as clear-cut. Who has been more Spursy over the last decade, Arsenal or Spurs?
Spurs.
You still go with Spurs?
Yeah, still go with Spurs, just because they've won those 4 trophies.
But in league form, you might say Arsenal.
Yeah, in the league form, fine, but we've still been... I'd still go for Arsenal. I still go for Spurs just because we haven't got over the line and won those trophies. Where even in Arsenal's worst period in the Premier League ever, they've won 4.
Won 4 FA Cups. Yeah, fair play to that. To be fair, Jordan says Arsenal versus United next weekend is going to be so interesting. Spurs, United, and Arsenal are just utter garbage. Whoever gets Champions League, it's just papering over cracks massively. And do you think if we get Champions League this season, it's paper over the cracks?
Yeah, to an extent, because I don't think we've been good enough for a top 4 finish this season. When you're looking at the whole season, the season as a whole, we're getting there. If we do get there, it's more on default that Man United have been crap, Arsenal haven't, got it, and anyone else, West Ham, anyone fighting for that top 4 haven't been good enough. So it's more on default for me.
You say Arsenal have been crap, but they've been better. It's their best season for like 3-4 years.
Doesn't mean they haven't been crap.
Right, but that's not winning. That's not winning it by default, if you know what I mean.
Arsenal should never have been in the conversation with 2 8th finishes in a row. It's more that United have been crap, to be honest, and we're getting there by default. I don't think we've been good enough for a top 4 finish. And but what
it depends how many points you finish on. So if we finish 70+ points, that's usually good enough for top 4. So you can't say that's.
But what I would say, everyone was going for United for the title at the beginning of the season. They've completely faltered, and if United would have done half of what they were expecting to do, they'd be probably sealed in 4th already for this season. But what I would say is that maybe it does paper over cracks, but the fact of the matter is, if we do get top 4. Then we can progress for next season.
Then we can fill in those cracks.
Exactly, we can fill in those cracks.
Exactly. 7 says Harry Winks' first block of the season. Oh, is it there? Is it crashed?
It's crashed again.
Give it a sec. It still says it's connected. Give it a sec. Is it not there? Is it not scrolling? There it is. Harry Winks' first block of the season. He blocked someone on Twitter, which I found funny. But he also apparently he liked a tweet. I might have it here. Yesterday, saying that people blaming Harry Winks for our loss yesterday. You have to get a grip or something, and he liked that tweet, which is interesting. Scenes yesterday as Arsenal fans celebrate Tottenham's. The camera angle's not great, but Arsenal fans there celebrating Tottenham's defeat in the stadium, not to know that they're going to suffer the same fate 90 minutes later, which I thought was a bit of karma. But look, they're literally
Karma's
celebrating like they've won a trophy or something. It's amazing how they celebrate our defeat there.
Yeah, but look, if the boot was on the other hand, it'd be the exact same thing. So
no chance, mate. We have a bit more class.
Yeah. Go look at the videos at number 8 pub after Arsenal lost yesterday.
Yeah, but at least we didn't have a game just then, like just before. You know what I mean? It's just quite funny. Lucas says, I don't understand why Conte doesn't give Bergwijn more minutes. Every single time he comes on, he makes something happen.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying all along. I was saying it in the watch along yesterday. I've been saying it in the match review. What does Bergwijn need to do to get more minutes? Not even just to get, I'm not even saying start. At least half an hour, 20 minutes, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But no, 5 minutes every time, even less.
And even then, he still does something, you know what I mean? But it's just not enough time. The remaining fixture list for the top 4 contenders. Obviously, looking at everyone's fixture list, Tottenham do by far have the easiest one. But when you're losing games at home to Brighton, it definitely serves up doubts in your mind of like how consistent we are. Because everyone was hoping we'd got this inconsistency out of our system with 4 straight wins, but hopefully it's not creeping in. But with Spurs, it's Brentford away, Leicester at home, Liverpool away, Arsenal at home, Burnley at home, and Norwich away. Then United have Liverpool away, Arsenal away, Brentford at home, Brighton away, Chelsea at home, and Palace away. None of those games you look at and think they're nailed on for 3 points. Arsenal have Chelsea away, United at home, West Ham away, Leeds at home, Tottenham away, Newcastle at home, and Everton away. And then West Ham have Burnley at home, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Norwich away, City at home, and Brighton away. So everyone having a lot harder fixtures than us, thankfully.
And actually, that Arsenal fixtures, even their easier games, look harder now because of the run that they're on. I mean, Leeds have started to put a bit of a run together. They're playing well at the moment. And Everton away, I mean, they're probably
much better at Goodison Park, aren't they?
Yeah, so first of all, they're much better at Goodison Park, but I was going to say they'll probably be fighting for their lives, but they'll probably be safe by then, last game of the season.
The only game you think they're Newcastle at home, you're thinking they'll probably win that one.
But even Newcastle, not an easy game at the moment.
No. No, all the other teams, much harder games. And we still have Burnley at home and Norwich away to play, so you got to think that should stand us in good stead, but can't take our eye off the ball. Tottenham's first half yesterday by numbers was one shot taken, 0.02 xg, ridiculous. Brighton largely nullified us yesterday. The xg overall as well. Spurs 0.52 to Brighton's 0.92. So it wasn't a game a lot of chances, was it? But Brighton just shading the expected goals, and that's probably the few chances they had. A lot of them were coming on the break in the second half as well. But we was nullified by them yesterday.
Absolutely
massively.
Nullified, yeah.
All right, that's all we have from Twitter. Let's try and look at Reddit now. Let's try and get that up. Unfortunately, it wasn't didn't let me save the post, but one time we'll have a look at reacting to stuff on Reddit. This is a good picture. Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United fighting for top 4. Everyone, look at the bottom. Everyone saying no, thank you. Pretty much.
How many times over the last many years actually now where there's a top 4 race that nobody wants it? Well, I've seen it so many times where Spurs keep losing, and Arsenal keep losing, then Man U keep losing.
Well, I guess by its very nature, by teams who aren't challenging for title are going to be more inconsistent than title challengers, aren't they? Very
true.
How many points are we on? We're on 57 points, which I think our league position feels worse than it is. Or points, I think our points total feels worse than it is because we've lost 11 games. But the fact is, we've only drawn 3, so there's a lot of wins there. So usually it's either win or lose.
That Pochettino season.
That last season under Poch.
Yeah, exactly.
Where I think first half of the season, we lost 5 games in the first half of the season or something. But we were actually keeping pace with the top 2 because we didn't draw any games. We were just winning or losing. And I guess without the draws, then you tend to pick up a lot more points. 57 points at this stage of the season for a top 4 challenger is pretty. That's not unreasonable.
How does that compare to Man United and Arsenal? How many draws and losses have they got?
So United have drawn a lot more. So United have lost less than us. They've lost 3 less games, but they've drawn 6 more games. Arsenal same. They've also drawn the same. They've also had 17 wins and 11 losses. So very, very similar. But if you look at the last few seasons, I reckon the top 4 race is fairly similar amount of points, and we're probably set for around 70 points at the moment, which is pretty. That's pretty common for a top 4 finish.
I guess.
Watching our wing backs today, feeling shit, just want him back. There's Matt Doherty. Who would have thought?
It's mad how much of a loss Matt Doherty is after the shit we've been giving him for the past couple of years. It reminds me a bit of the emergence of Moussa Sissoko when he started performing for us, because it was like everyone was giving him so much shit. And then suddenly he turned to this player that was so important for us.
Yeah.
And that's the same with Matt Doherty.
Feels like that. And look, we're going to be without him for the rest of the season, so we're going to have to make do. This is the tweet Harry Winks liked after the game yesterday from Dave Finch. He says, Tottenham Hotspur did not have a single shot on target in 95 minutes of play against Brighton. But let's all blame Harry Winks. Joke for a fan base sometimes. And he liked that tweet, Harry Winks.
Yeah, I mean, you can blame Harry. I mean, there's nothing to blame Harry Winks for yesterday. I don't think...
Is Winks calling us a joke of a fan base yesterday by liking that tweet?
I think Twitter's just that kind of place, you know what I mean? Like, Twitter is just a toxic place, no matter what fan base you are. And there's always going to be...
Should Winks be liking a tweet like that for you? Or do you not really care that much?
I don't really care that much, to be honest. But I think that, there is certain scapegoats that get made every season. And even if they're not to blame in that particular game, they'll still point the blame at them. And I think that might have been the case with Harry Winks yesterday. I mean, it's not like he was amazing or good when he came on, but I don't think he had anything to do with our loss yesterday.
No. He only had 15 minutes or 20 minutes, didn't he? When the Saints go marching in, there's Arsenal fans getting happy about us losing to Brighton, then getting sucked in by Southampton. That's a funny picture. Haven't had to pull this one out for a while. Tottenham Hotspur, days since the last shit show. 0 days.
Finally, the shit shows are back.
Exactly. Looking at, and that's the top 4 we went through before. This aged like a fine wine. The Athletic posting a video saying how Spurs became unspursy. Very well timed post by the Athletic.
Why don't they do an article of how arse became arsey?
Exactly. Never. It's always about Spurs. And I think that is it for now.
All right.
From social media.
So that is how Twitter and Reddit reacted to the game yesterday. Let's move on because it's time to start bringing on you guys to have your say on the game yesterday. We've got some people waiting. I'm not sure we want to speak to Alex Samuels today after how he proved us so right on Friday. But let's bring him on anyway. Alex, how's it going, mate?
Oh.
You on mute?
Can't hear him.
Hello?
Oh,
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah,
we can hear you now. Alex.
There you go.
Alex, you can say whatever you want. Just don't say, I told you so.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of what to say. I think this is how I want to put it. Have you seen that meme of Nigel Farage in the EU Parliament going, "You all laughed at me.
Yeah.
Well, you're not laughing now." Yeah, look, it's what can I say really? My worst fears were realised. I looked at it and I thought, yeah, it was. I think it was you guys said it. It was all too perfect. The sun was shining. The vibe in the stadium before the game was really, really good. Everyone was I could just feel it inside the stadium. And then you kick off, and after the first 10 minutes, something is not right here. You get to half time, you're like, okay, that wasn't great. Maybe like the Villa game, can we turn it around? It didn't happen. And then we really got what we deserved, to be honest, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, what can I say apart from we really need to be careful, just because even if we won yesterday, it doesn't mean that we're suddenly guaranteed to get the 4th place, because there are so many twists and turns that can happen in this race for top 4, but it's not certain until it is certain.
What went wrong for you yesterday? Why do you think we ended a game at home to Brighton with 0 shots on target, and I don't think anyone could have expected that kind of porous of a performance and attacking display. But what do you think led to that? Why do you think we weren't able to lay a glove on Brighton really yesterday?
I think it was down to how we set up and how Brighton set up. I think Graham Potter set up tactically perfect. He got his tactics spot on with how to nullify us, how our wing backs, which are quite key for the system that we play, he made them ineffective. Both Reguilon and Emerson had terrible games, if, at least going forward, and that really just made us ineffective completely. They overloaded not overloaded, but they had more men in midfield. They had 3 in midfield, with Basuma having a brilliant game, and that made it very difficult for Højbjerg and Bentancur to get the ball moving to either the wing backs or the if they were ahead in the forwards. So I think that's really where it started. But for a team with the quality that we have in the team, you would hope that we'd be able to sort it out at halftime, make those tactical adjustments, and really just outplay them with the quality that we have, and we know that we have, that we've proven to have. But we just weren't able to do that. I don't think maybe Conte was adventurous enough in the formation. He does quite like to stick to unless it really, really calls for it. Example, we go a goal down much earlier in the game. He doesn't really change the formation that drastically usually. For example, he's only gone to a back four a couple of times max. For example.
There was like one game against Chelsea, and there was one other. I can't remember which game
he
it was.
changed it very quickly against Wolves, didn't he? Wolves. He changed it like after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only if it really drastically calls for it. So, yeah, I think that's really what overall created that. And also, I do think... I don't think it's fair to put it amongst the players, but I do think we really deserved it for being overconfident. I'm not sure that's fair to put that on the players being overconfident, because we know that they wanted to treat it like cup finals. Or actually, maybe that in itself is a reason that it went like that, treating it like a cup final, because we know how we are with those. So yeah, and that's what I really think happened yesterday.
In terms of the refereeing decisions yesterday, there were 2 very questionable decisions by the ref not to send off Kulusevski and Mwepu. What was your opinions on those 2 decisions?
Yeah, well, from where I was sitting, the Kulusevski one, I didn't really see a lot in it. However, looking at replays back of it, obviously there was more to be said there, and I think that the case of red card is quite strong. But in the end, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because they cancel each other out. Yes, their players should have the referee should have definitely got a red card, 100%. But it doesn't. It's a non-event. You know, if it was one or the other, then fine, it would be a talking point, but I don't really think it is because of that.
Yeah, you're probably right there. And in terms of the top 4 race, I know you weren't that confident coming into this game and not too confident on the top 4, but with Arsenal losing to Southampton, 3 losses in a row, United not looking great against Norwich, but Cristiano Ronaldo pulling through like he did against us. Any changes in your thoughts in the top 4 race?
I think yes. I think because in the end there aren't a lot of games less, and it's a game down, or a match week down, isn't it? Yeah. So you have to look at it in that way. It's an opportunity lost, as we all know, to really go ahead. We are, as we all know, incredibly fortunate that Arsenal also bottled it. So that's great. I think what really has the real story of this weekend is, in my opinion, I think it opens up for Man United. I think they are now back. I think after the Everton loss, I was thinking they're done. But now, because both North London clubs dropped points, they are back in the race. Because they're what are they in the same position as Arsenal now?
I think they've played a game more.
Or a game more. Okay, so they're 3 points behind us, and
same games.
So yeah, and in what 6 games now, that can change.
And obviously they go to Liverpool midweek as well.
Yeah. So but as we do as well, we still have that Liverpool game.
But then they also have Arsenal away and Chelsea away as well, I think.
Yeah, we all know that we have the easiest schedule out of anyone. But last time I was on in your pre-match fan show, I said I don't trust this team to put the run together, to actually have a consistent output at the end of the season. And I was, I think, definitely proven right yesterday. We're not able to consistently put out great performances. You know, if we win 3-4 games in a row, that's great, but you're not going to get anywhere. And if we start thinking about next season as well, we're not going to be able to achieve anything more than we could this season if this keeps happening.
Do you think that from now until the end of the season, we even need to put, you know, a run together where we win 3 or 4 games in a row because of the fixtures that Arsenal and Man United have? Obviously, I know it'd be better for us to solidify it, but they've got incredibly difficult fixtures.
To be honest, I don't even see it as a case of solidifying. I think we can't rely on other teams to slip up, in my opinion, because I am quite. Yes, the results have been going our way recently, but if you look at United, and you said about Cristiano Ronaldo, their team is a bit in disarray and their club is in a bit of disarray. But when you have real quality, which they do in their squad, more quality than we have, and more quality than Arsenal do for sure. Definitely Arsenal. Maybe us, it's a bit more debatable. They've certainly spent more money on typically higher quality players. You know, then certainly you'd think that they would be a lock-in for that top 4. Especially since at the beginning of the season, United were being touted for league title ambitions and all that. Not getting top 4 for them would be a horrific season for them. And so they're going to, I think they've seen an opportunity now. And they're, you know, United, if they beat Liverpool or get a result out of Liverpool midweek, it'll be incredible because, number one, it boosts their, before this weekend, they would have seen it as great. We can maybe stop Liverpool from winning the title or the quadruple. But now can say, oh, actually, we can get top 4 as well. So they have a lot to play for, United. So I think for that reason, it is incredibly dangerous, and we need to be not really. We can't afford to be looking down the table, even though I know that is our situation. We have to be focusing on our games, looking, okay, these games are incredibly winnable. We need to go out and do it. But I know that, you know, we're all sitting here, armchair commentators, aren't we? And not, you know, playing the game, and it is very different and difficult, and I do get that. And Brighton are definitely a good team who have had bad moments in the past couple of weeks, and you know that they played very, very well yesterday. They did, and they made it incredibly difficult for us.
Absolutely. Alex, always a pleasure to have you on, mate. Hopefully you're a bit more confident in the pre-match to Brentford, and we can talk about a win next weekend.
I hope so. I'd love to be, but you know, probably get a season-ending injury for someone in the meantime, or I don't know, something.
When Kane was hobbling yesterday, I swear, I saw our season flash before my eyes.
Exactly. I saw he went down and then just started limping. And I was just thinking, oh my God, here we go. But fortunately not. And yeah, well, thank you guys very much for having me on.
No problem, Alex. Good to have you on, and we'll see you soon.
See you guys.
Cheers, mate. I think there was a super chat there, but I kind of lost it. Do you have it there?
From Alvin Blocks, he says, had a great time in my first match. Even though we lost, we really need a creative midfielder and a stronger bench. Really missed Doherty too. Come on, you Spurs.
Did you see him?
Huh?
Did you see him?
Didn't see him, unfortunately.
No. Okay. All right, let's keep going. We got Grandpa with us today. Let's bring on Grandpa. How you doing, Grandpa?
I'm doing great. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I'm really great.
Good to have you back on the channel. What did you make out of the game yesterday?
I think that they just outbeat us in tactics.
Yeah.
I think they blocked the channels to Kane just brilliantly. And if you heard them, the centre forward talking about that was their plan. And then when I looked at the playbacks earlier, and you could see how they always blocked that channel. Kane always had to move in a direction he didn't want to because there was 2 people between them. No, somebody's not good.
What's that, Grandpa?
Somebody's not good.
Somebody's not muted. Can you hear other voices?
I can hear other voices. Now, gone now.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that it was so clever the way they slowed the game down, and you could see now what they were doing when they were slowing down. They were blocking the channels to Kane, and it was brilliant. Now, what my biggest fear is that other teams watching that will start to use that same technique. So Conte's got to learn a way to get out of it. Part of it is our wingbacks. Our wingbacks, can break it, and also having two centre forwards. So if they're not going, if they're blocking Kane, they're opening up another channel. And I think somebody said they should have brought Berwin on earlier, because that would have taken the pressure off Kane a bit. But I just think they were brilliant, and I just hope that nobody tries to copy them, or if they do, Conte will have a way out. I was disappointed that our wingbacks performed so badly, because we hardly had a cross, let alone a shot on goal. But there was hardly any crosses, and I think it was just a bad game for us. But only bad because they played so well.
Yeah.
But I'm really quite positive now. I'm positive that we will go to whatever Alex says. I'm positive that we will go through to the top four if we don't slip up and they don't copy the way Brighton worked, and we get back to our ways. And Conte is a very good manager, and he'll see that, and he'll find his way through it. And I think particularly. Arsenal have got a very difficult time ahead of them, and they're a lot of the games are away. I think they've got a difficult time.
Yeah,
and they didn't play too badly yesterday. I mean, they had in most of the game, most of the shots, but they were beaten. Thank goodness, because that's kept us in the game. If they'd won, I think it would have been much harder for us.
Well, what do you think about Man United as well? Won yesterday. They just about got past Norwich, and you looking at them a bit worried as well now, or?
I'm a bit worried, but I'm not that worried. I mean, they've got to slip up, or we've got to slip up. I think the better chance is that they'll slip up rather than us. And they've got some. They've got some difficult matches. I feel positive. I have a lot of faith in Conte. And he didn't make many mistakes, and he did change the format at halftime. Because he could see Kane was being kept out of the match. He hardly touched it in the first half. In the second half, all the front balls coming up went to Kane. Kane touched the ball a lot more times, but he was still kept out of it by brilliant tactics of Brighton. Sorry.
I was going to say, does it slightly worry you though in our last three games? I know obviously we beat Newcastle 5-1 and beat Villa 4-0, but in the first halves in both those games, against Newcastle we were 1-0 down and struggling quite a bit, and then obviously turned it around. Against Aston Villa we were very poor in the first half, and very lucky to go in at 1-0 up, and obviously went on to turn around that game. But do you worry these performances, you could argue, is becoming a bit of a trend, especially in first halves, that we're struggling a bit to find the right things?
I think sometimes when they get, I'd rather Brighton, for instance, had got their goal earlier, because then we start to fight. We weren't fighting, but when only a few minutes left when they got the goal, so we didn't have a chance. But I think if it'd been 20 minutes, we would have been fighting and we would have got a goal. We almost did anyway.
Yeah,
we almost got a goal in that 3 minutes. I mean, Berwin missed the absolute open goal.
Yeah, big chance.
I'm remaining positive, and I think it's important to remain positive. It's important for the team and the manager, to continue to be positive, and I think we have to help with that.
All right.
Yeah. So yesterday, was just more of a blip rather than a common occurrence in our performances, you think?
No, I don't think it was a blip, because I think what it was we were tactically outbeaten, really well outbeaten. They slowed the game down, and when they slowed the game down, all they were doing was playing to get the channels blocked to Kane. That's all they were doing, and that was very clever. So yes, it was, if you want to call it a blip, but we were outbeaten. We weren't lucky or unlucky. We were just outbeaten, and I just hope that is a learning for Conte, and I think that he would learn. And it's unbelievable to me that he didn't bring Sessegnon on instead of Winks. Because that's where we needed it. We needed the people running through on the wings, and we got very few.
I agree.
Absolutely. All right, Grandpa. Always great to speak to you.
Nice
So
to
we'll
see you,
see you
Grandpa.
next time.
Yeah, see you soon.
See you
Cheers.
soon, Grandpa. Nice
Bye.
to see you.
It's obviously a Grandpa. He's saying that we got completely done by Brighton tactically.
Yeah, I could agree with
and
that.
we
Disagree
didn't
with
find
anything.
something inside so strong. But maybe this next man can find something inside so strong. It's Barry, everyone. How you doing, Barry?
Well, I don't know who that guy was at the stadium yesterday predicting 7-0.
Was that Barry talking, or was it the beers talking?
I'd only had one snake bite and black up to that point, so it's probably the Butler effect. Let's put it down to that.
Butler gets battered.
He does. He was. I don't know. I think he was all right yesterday. He sloped off early again, but it's becoming a habit for him. But there we go.
Were you in the pub watching the Arsenal game yesterday?
No, we were with the Arsenal game wasn't on there. The Man City Liverpool
I see.
FA Cup semi-final. Yeah, but I was there with Rez, Stel, JP, Brains, whoever else was in there. I can't remember. So apologies to all those people. But yeah, no, it was. I mean, look, it was disappointing yesterday. I think with hindsight and a bit of time, the Arsenal result was absolutely amazing. The atmosphere in the Beehive was incredible. Obviously, when they did that, I mean, obviously United, like you said, they apart from Cristiano Ronaldo, which I don't think necessarily that free kick was world class, like some of my Man United friends were saying, because Krul did push it in. So, without them, that they were, it was very. They conceded 2 goals to the team that's bottom in the Premier League, so at home. So I'm not worried, and I think we need to stop going on this yo-yo effect. And I know Rez is in the back as well, and he's probably going to say the same thing. But this yo-yo effect of the team's rubbish, Conte's rubbish, and I know it's emotional. And I know we're all disappointed yesterday, but look, we need to start. We need to stop this. We need to believe. We need to. Like people were saying, ignore everyone else's fixtures, but we've got the easier running, and we need to believe it's going to happen.
Yeah, I get that, Barry, but I think you're right. In terms of stopping the knee-jerk reactions, but did it worry you yesterday how Potter just completely outdid Conte tactically, and Conte didn't really seem to have an answer yesterday?
Yeah, so I mean that was a worry, but I think. That it's a combination of factors as well. With, I mean, I said on the group earlier, I think we've only won 30% of the games when we've had a 12:30 kickoff. The players obviously had a couple of days off as well. He's obviously Easter Sunday has given them off today, but he's certainly not going to let them get away with what he kind of gave them. He gave them an inch and they took a mile last week. But with Potter, yeah, look, you've got to applaud them. Brighton deserve to win. I think we looked in that midfield that they had 3 against 2. We could have done something to change it. We could have gone 5 across midfield, or 4 across midfield, and changed it up. We didn't for whatever reason, and I just think we lost to a team that had obviously come to, I mean that the bet of Brighton beating Arsenal and Spurs away from home 2 games in a row would have been insane odds. But look, they thoroughly deserved it. We weren't at the races, but we're not. We're all of this. oh, we're going to Brentford and they've won 3 in a row and Eriksen's going to score and control it. That might happen, but we've got to believe that we're going to go there. We're going to win, and especially after the potential results that could happen in the week with Arsenal, Man U, and who they're playing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And obviously, as you say, Arsenal on a run of now 3 defeats in a row. Man United did scrape past Norwich at home. West Ham kick off in about 40 minutes time this afternoon against Burnley. Has the landscape changed in the top 4 race after this weekend, or is it just as you were, seeing as the other team Arsenal lost as well?
I mean, I think we got a bit of a free hit. I mean, okay, aside from the Man United result, we got a bit of a free hit, right? So, again, you could probably look at it as a missed opportunity, but we didn't deserve a win yesterday, and it would have been very harsh on Brighton, and I guess in the top 4 race, it's bubbling up nicely. West Ham are going to be more concerned about their European games, so I'm not really really worried about them. And I think that the main concern and the main worry now is probably going to be Man United, because if they're playing the way that they're playing. The perfect week for us would be obviously both of them losing midweek and then drawing next weekend. That would be the perfect result for us, and then obviously we then go to Brentford and win, and then I guess everyone will be on a high again. So we just need to look. It's tough. It's not going to be easy, but we've got Conte. He's gonna look at what happened. We had it disjointed at the start of the week as well, with him not being there because of COVID until he tested negative. So, look, let's not. I don't want everyone to start going in on the team, going in on Conte, and just sitting there going, "Oh, it's all doom and gloom." Because look at where we were at the start of the season. Look at where we were 9 games ago. Look at the positivity. 7 wins in 10. So let's just. We can't change anything with the personnel. So let's just get behind the boys. Let's just, let's all be together. As difficult as it is sometimes, and people talking about Spurs being Spursy and everything else. We just need to just kind of put it to bed. It's done, and let's focus on Brentford. And like I said a few weeks ago, it's one game at a time. We can't worry about everyone else. It's we just whatever happens in the week happens in the week. If because otherwise we'll start winding ourselves up. Oh, Arsenal beat Chelsea, or they beat Man United, and then everyone's going to be like, oh my God, the pressure's on. Let's just take care of our business, and let's not worry about what everyone's doing, and then let's see where we are. If we go to the end of the season, we don't get top 4, but we've given it our all, then what, we can't really ask for much more. But if we play like we played yesterday, then we can hold our hands up and say, look, we've kind of thrown an opportunity away, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. All right, Barry, thanks for coming on, my friend, and we'll see you next time.
See you, Barry. Nice to see you, man.
Come as Spurs. All right, that was Barry. Let's move on. Let's speak to Rovshan. Rovshan, how's it going, buddy?
Thanks, fine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear, mate.
What about you?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. I mean, I was feeling a bit down. I was feeling down after the game yesterday, but the Arsenal game did make me feel a whole lot better. But what you assessed the game for me yesterday. What went wrong?
Yeah, I think obviously our starting 11 is not every player is good enough. But just generally, I think as Brighton started 3 midfield, they closed every space in midfield, so we couldn't progress the ball to Kane and Son. Never. Maybe Kane was an off day, but I think generally Son is type of a player, gets into the position and runs with the ball and scores. So he didn't get this position because they closed the spaces too many times, and Conte takes a bit blame for that, for this game, maybe. Obviously, we don't know better than him, but when you see the game plan, we were not progressing the ball. That was disappointing, because when you start to calculate the possible points Spurs will get until the end of the season, you put win on Brighton game at home. So when it's a loss, it's disappointing. And even when Arsenal loses, it's for me much more disappointing, because if we won that game, it would be very, very massive 3 points on the way for top 4. Yeah, I still think we will get it, top 4, but just I think tactically it was the game that didn't look at us. So I think hopefully I think sometimes we have to switch our midfield to 3 men. Generally, I think that also although 3-4-3 works very well for us at the moment, I think it's such a specific formation that not every manager uses. So I think maybe yes, it's useful against 80% of tactics, but sometimes I think it cannot be useful. So we have to switch to 3 men in midfield. That's just my opinion. And when it comes to individuals, yeah, of course, we know Kane, Son, and Kulusevski doing well. The reason they didn't well, again, I say, we didn't progress the ball. We were not able to progress the ball forward too many times. But when they can't progress, like wing backs must do a job there. And I think Reguilon, Emerson, these players are not good enough for starting 11. For me personally, we have to replace both in the summer. I don't trust in Reguilon. I don't think he has done more in a Spurs shirt than Lo Celso. About Ryan Sessegnon, yeah, maybe he is good. He can fit, but I haven't seen him too much in this under Conte. Whether it was injuries, whether it was regular selection, I haven't seen him too much. Maybe he's good, but on Reguilon, I was really excited when we signed him. I thought he was going to be a perfect player for us, Danny Rose replacement. Actually, he was good at 4 at the back, but under Conte system, he's definitely not good enough, and I think we have to replace him in the summer, both Emerson and him. So we need 2 wing backs. When you watch top teams like Manchester City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, they have top crosses where they cross the ball into the danger area, and quality strikers like also Kane and others headed to the net. We don't have top crosses. I think last time we had it was Eriksen, and since then we haven't got a top cross, in my opinion, and that's a big blow, especially under Conte's system. Yeah. Definitely, these 11 needs a change in the summer. We cannot rely on these players. They're improving under Conte. They're doing some good job, but we need, I think, at least 4 changes in the starting 11 for next season. If we are trying to win FA Cup or get top 2, something like that, top 3 maybe, top 4, because Manchester United are coming with Erik ten Hag. Maybe we don't know how they will be, but there's a possibility they can be very, very good team. Obviously, Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, I don't think they will drop nowhere near soon. And Arsenal is also competitive at this point. Also, West Ham, other teams. So we need massive summer transfer window. I still don't trust these players enough. So, yeah, just.
Rovshan, did it worry you yesterday how Conte didn't really have an answer to the tactical problems that we saw on the pitch yesterday?
Yeah, maybe, but it was too late in the game that he could change so many things. But generally, I think, people say he didn't bring on Bergwijn and Lucas. He brought Lucas. But I thought it was maybe the right thing, because Bergwijn is Son type of player. So I don't think he was going to offer more than Son. But Lucas is a player that in the moments that we couldn't open the spaces, he's a player that takes the ball and runs with it, and no one can catch him. But again, in the final shot, he was shambolic yesterday. I don't know what he was doing, but just the moment he dribbled past Marc Cucurella, it was the thing that Kulusevski didn't do in 60, 70 minutes he was on the pitch. So that's why he brought on Lucas to do that. I think Son was good, because there was a chance he created for himself very well. He was unlucky not to score because it was deflected a couple of times from defenders. But Kane was not able to pass, was not able to shoot. There was chances where he could pass, but he tried to shoot, and where he was not able to shoot well. Just one day, it is, we know how Kane are going to perform in the next games. Yeah, unfortunately, it's one game where we failed. Hopefully, it will not carry on. But I think Conte must be more, like, how to say, tactically must have more alternatives. I think the 3-4-3, yes, we will work well under this formation, but maybe not always, because it's such a specific formation again, I say, because they boasted in 3 midfield. We were 2 in midfield, Bissouma and Reto, and I think it was Pascal Gross. They were just closing spaces, and Bentancur was not free, Højbjerg sometimes. So just 80%, 70% tactically, and 30% maybe individual quality cost us the game. Hopefully that's just one of those games, and yes, thankfully Arsenal lost as well. Just it was a massive loss. They were unlucky as well, but they have very hard run of games after that, and they will be without Thomas Partey and Kieran Tierney, possibly they're 2 of their best players. So I believe they will not get top 4. If Arsenal don't get top 4, I think we will get it. I don't give a chance to Manchester United. But again, I say we must, as everyone said, as every footballer said in our club, we must take those games as cup finals. That's it. And yesterday, as much as tactically we were outclassed, also the players were also not just prolific or just good enough to just show that we're going to get 3 points. It's pity that it was a loss at home, to be fair.
All right, Rovshan, thanks for coming on, my friend, and we shall speak to you next time, hopefully after or prior to 3 points.
Thank you. See you soon.
See you later, Rovshan. All right, let's keep going. The lines are very busy today. Let's go to Tommy. You all right, Tommy?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Obviously, a bad 1-0 loss at home yesterday to Brighton. Yeah. What did you read into that game yesterday?
I was just really disappointed, to be honest. But what really struck me is just the lack of depth in the squad. And I thought about this over the last.
Oh, is he frozen?
Few weeks, even things rumbling along. Key areas of that squad just do not have enough players. We've got Bentancur and Højbjerg. I mean, Højbjerg was okay yesterday. Bentancur was a bit on and off. The only player we've really got to bring on at the moment is wings. We've got right wing back issues in terms of the fact we've got Emerson now. We'd had Doherty, who until the last few months people had decided wasn't good enough anyway. And I really don't want to come across a massive whinge, but it's a bit like, how can we operate with a squad that's so thin? And realistically, I don't know, we're in a good position. I think that's partly down to the quality of the good players that we do have. But to be in a situation we're in where the hubs of the team just are not well stocked enough is quite a concern, really. We've still got the issues in terms of striker. I mean, people have been saying about Bergwijn coming on. Again, that's not happened till the last few minutes, which people have said. I'm looking at our bench and I'm thinking, who do we bring on? We bring on, say, Lucas, who's not in great form at the moment. And then we bring on Bergwijn. And then I'm really struggling to see who we can bring on to change or influence the game. It's really lucky yesterday Kulusevski didn't get sent off, because then we really would be in a bit of a problem. People have said about moving Kulusevski to right wing back, but then you take away so much from what we've got up front, which is one of the things that is working. So.
Yeah. That's right. I mean, if Kulusevski was sent off yesterday for that straight red, that would have been 3 games, wouldn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that would have been...
And he was lucky. And I don't want to dig out Kulusevski because he's been absolutely brilliant, but it just worries me how much depth we've got in terms of various things. And there's players like Dyer and Davies who I've been impressed with, but a few years ago, they weren't good. Lots of people weren't considering them good enough for our bench, and now they're regular first-team players who we're relying on.
Yeah, I get what you're saying about squad depth, and your fears are definitely valid, and 100% spot on. But you look at Arsenal; they've got the same issues, if not even worse. Man United, they just can't seem to be getting consistent tune at the moment. Every time they win of late, it's Cristiano Ronaldo just pulling through and winning the game for them, pretty much on his own. But to get to this stage of the season and to be 3 points clear in top four, and with only 6 games left of the season to go. Do you back us to do it?
I really don't know. I hope so. I think it's a massive compliment to Conte that we're actually in this position, and a massive compliment to the players who've performed well. I mean, like having Say Romero in there has been unbelievable. The way he's played over the last few weeks have been just blown away by in terms of how much time he's got on the ball, and that front three has been phenomenal. But I just look at it at times and think, I know people are saying Conte should have done this or Conte should have done that. But I'm looking at the bench and thinking, how does he change it with what he's got to work with?
Well, yeah, you only gave Bergwijn 5 minutes, Surely Bergwijn deserves more time than that.
Well, I mean, I wondered whether it was worth just bringing on Bergwijn earlier and dropping Kane deeper into midfield and seeing if that might work, just because it gives us a slightly different dynamic. I feel sorry for Bergwijn. I think he's good, but just doesn't seem to get the time, really.
What does he need to do to get more minutes? Because every time he comes on, he seems to be impacting something.
Yeah, and I can see, like, with the social media post why he gets fed up with it, because he just doesn't seem to get any runners again. And I really do like him through the middle. I think he's got real, like, power and pace about him. Yeah, he scuffs a few shots, but he's also, I think people forget with Bergwijn actually how young he still is, his early 20s. I think he has more impact going through the middle than he does down the right, for example. But I think definitely one of the biggest things we need to look at in the summer is the squad depth, because it's just not, certainly the wing backs and the central midfield area just isn't enough there. I definitely start Sessegnon next game, because I just think at least he's got that drive to get into the positions. And that can be left or right, really.
Tommy, let's see how it progresses over the next 6 games. Yeah. But thanks for coming on today, and we'll see you soon.
See you, Tommy.
Thank you very much.
No problem, Tommy. See you later. That was Tommy. Let's keep going, and let's go to the Resonator. Rez, how are we doing today, mate?
Good afternoon. How are you guys? See, I managed to not mute myself this time.
You're learning, Rez. You're learning.
Yes,
in the minority.
It's a process.
Rez, in our pre-match fan show, you said the top 4 race was over. It was done already. And do you stand by that?
Yep.
All right, nice to see you, Rez. No, but look, after a performance and result like that, does it not was that not a wake-up call maybe to where we really are, or do or does Arsenal's defeat still mean that for you that we should be ours?
I said that Southampton would get a result against Arsenal. I knew they would. The thing you got to bear in mind is that we all make sort of predictions about what's going to happen, and we're all very certain about the things that we say, and we think that when things go our way, we almost act as if that proves that we're prognosticators of everything Spurs and football, and then sort of tend to ignore the stuff that doesn't fit in with our predictions. So I predicted that we would batter Brighton. And I predicted that Arsenal would lose against Southampton. So in one aspect, I was proven correct, and in the other, I was proven wrong. So that just goes to show that we really have absolutely no clue what's going to happen within any 90 minutes. We can draw vague conclusions and predictions, but who expected Brentford to go to Stamford Bridge and get a 4-1 result? Anyone who says that, put their hand up and be honest. No one. No one.
I said it in the Prem, didn't you see?
Yeah, but that's because you're a rebel, Ben. But so this is what my message has been. Recently, it's about belief, because listen, we don't know. We really don't know what's going to happen. Okay. what we can do is look at stuff like the accusation that we're inconsistent, right? We've won 7 out of our last 10. Isn't that consistent? That's 70% return, right? One result does not make us inconsistent. It's not, and if you want to get really, geeky and nerdy, it's not statistically significant, right? It's one game. We have been consistent. What we can also say is that Arsenal have been consistently bad over their recent run. We can also say that Man United have been consistently chaotic in their recent run. All of these things, if they continue, put us in the box seat. That's the only thing that we can really conclude. But we can't say for certain anything's going to happen. What we can do is, knowing that anything could happen, is get behind our team. And I'm going to talk about Liverpool now very briefly. Everyone is saying that if Liverpool, get the quadruple, their fans are going to be insufferable. And that's absolutely true. They will be. They will irritate the pants off of everyone. But you know what? Their fans believe. Now, obviously, they've got quality, so it's a lot easier to believe. And I fully acknowledge that. But we should start being insufferable as fans. Right?
The problem is, Rez, every time I become insufferable, I get a thrown back in my face.
So do I. And it's happened so often. But do you know what? This is my thinking. I said it. I think it might have been with you guys, actually. I said that if I'm going to believe that we're going to batter Brighton, and if it doesn't happen and we get a bad result, I will suffer the pain at the time. And I did. And I was disappointed, and I walked away from the stadium, frustrated. But that passed, and the belief came back, because I want what's best for this. And part of that is, for me, is believing, even in the face of contrary evidence, right? So my own default position will always be that we're going to win. And I'm sort of turning into Bob Spur now. A lot of people have said that when he puts his glasses on, we're twins. But I take that attitude that Bob says, because that's what we have to do as football fans. That's what we do. It's why we follow football. It's why we follow a particular club. There's no rationality behind it. We can become granular and dig down and find, specific things to sort of pinpoint. But at the end of the day, that takes a lot of the joy out of football. That uncertainty, that anticipation that when the referee, and I'm going to talk about Craig Pawson if you'll give me the opportunity as well, when the referee's whistle goes, anything could happen. That's why we watch football, because anything could happen, and it can turn your day into the most glorious experience of your life, or it can leave you wasted after 90 minutes of hell. But that's why we do it. And so I think we need to move away a little bit from this sort of worry about, Christian Eriksen has Brentford have won every game that Christian Eriksen has played in, so we're going to lose. It's like, how do you know? Very quickly on Craig Pawson. Again, Spurs have suffered from an atrocious refereeing performance. I'm not saying that's the reason we lost. I'm just commenting, I'm making an observation as to how poor Craig Pawson was. I think that it was terrible of him to have been selected to referee our match, especially after what happened against Man City when he was the fourth official. He has done himself no favors in showing his lack of unbiasedness, in my view. I thought that Brighton got away with murder. Kulusevski did as well, I will admit, but at the same time, that was after Brighton had done what Villa had been doing to us as well. But I still draw positives from the fact that happened, because it shows that teams are so scared of us, or scared of our front three, that they have to resort to that kind of crappy Burnley-esque tactic in order to nullify us. And this is also, this was really shown up yesterday with Brighton, because Brighton don't play like that. they were awful in terms of footballing spectacle yesterday. You know, completely outside of the way that they usually play, and that shows that they're frightened, and that's a positive. We should take a positive from that. We've got potency there. It might not be complete, it might not have been done yet, but we've got potency there, and we should celebrate that and get behind that and believe that it's going to take us over the line. And there's one last point I'm going to make. I know I've been talking a lot, and I do apologize. We've heard a number of sort of people say, well, Conte should have done this, and Conte should have done that, and Conte should have done the other. But that doesn't take into consideration the fact that right now he doesn't have the resources to be that tactically flexible. You know, let's say we play a 3-5-2. Okay, so that means you have to sacrifice one of Kane, Son, or Kulusevski and bring on a central midfielder to take their place. Who'd you bring in? Harry Winks? Harvey White? Yeah. So it's not easy. It's very easy to say he should have done this, he should have done that. But you've got to look at what he's got available to him and say, is that feasible for him to have done that? Would that have actually weakened us? On top of the fact that the system that he's played has brought a number of very, very good results recently. So I think a little less navel gazing from Spurs fans would be useful, and a little more belief. And that's what I'm going to be doing.
For Rez, though, you know, we didn't have one shot on target yesterday. And Brighton, obviously, full of confidence after being Arsenal. But why did we struggle, do you think, so badly to get even a shot on target, do you think?
Well, I think it comes down to the thing that we hope and Conte has shown he does do, which is change the sort of outlook of a squad and an approach that they take. I think what we saw this past week with regard certain training videos, which Will Stewart has been talking about, with the fact that Kane on his day off decided that a 6,000 mile round trip was appropriate at the tail end of a season. This to me demonstrates a slight lack of professionalism, which we've all noticed and we've all talked about rearing its head again. We have to understand that that transition that we have been talking about since Pochettino was sacked has now begun. And we are in a state of transition, and results where players don't show 100% will happen until such time as Conte has fully stamped his particular authority onto that squad. And bear in mind, you know, if the thing that we need to happen happens, in which we will get players that we need in, the squad that we're seeing on the pitch right now is going to be radically different next season. And so we're going to get results in which players just don't show real steel and grit and determination, which they didn't show yesterday. We need to develop a bit more of a spine when players, or when clubs like Brighton and Aston Villa feel that they need to kick us about in order to get a result. We then need to start kicking back, not necessarily literally, but showing them, oh, you want to play rough, do you? Okay, fine. We're now going to stab you through the heart, which we have done in the past on occasion. We just need to do that more. It's just about finding the answers to tests that we've not been able to answer as of yet. And that will come with time. We're not going to get it tomorrow. It will take some time.
All right, Rez, always a great call, mate, and
far too
see you
logical
next time.
for our channel, I think.
I'll try and be less rational next time. It's fine.
Big up, Rez. We'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. Thanks very much.
Love it.
Always great call from Rez. And let's go to the big competition winner from yesterday, Mr. KPV. How you doing, mate?
I'm okay. Just a bit annoyed at the moment from yesterday, as I just found out from my...
Oh.
No, it's not the game, boys. It's not the game, boys. It's not the game.
Is that you? Oh,
who's got the stream playing in the background? Have you got the stream playing in the background?
It's not me, mate. It's someone else.
Is there people in the back end still?
I heard just a few minutes ago, but yeah, it's not to do with the game. It's just about my family, because I found out, my dad told me that my sister was only going to steal money from my nephew, which is kind of ridiculous. Like,
Carl, I don't think you should be airing this to YouTube. Maybe it's a private chat that should be. We should speak about these kind of things.
Like, wait, who's playing in the background?
But Carl, yeah, look, the result yesterday, it wasn't a good one. But look, Arsenal lost, didn't they? And that helps us in the top 4 race.
Yeah, 3 defeats on the bounce for them. But yeah, yeah, 3 defeats in the background for them, and like, we don't want to go on this lose, win, lose again. But we just broke that. I think after the who's been in the background? Can someone please turn it off?
We'll try and sort that for you, Kyle. Do you still think we're going to make top 4 even though we lost to Brighton?
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, like I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up on us getting top 4, but we're still gonna make it. And like Barry said, we need to focus on what we're doing, not on Arsenal's results. But yeah, like as Ben said, it's the Ericsson derby, but we'll talk about that on Friday in a pre-match, fan show before the game on Saturday. And I believe Ben's going to the game, and Tim, you're going to be in the studio, right?
On Saturday?
No, we'll both be at the game. We'll both be at the game.
Oh, who's going to be in the studio then?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but don't worry, it'll be a good duo, that's for sure.
Yeah, like
I believe it's Danny Kiriakou and Sean, actually.
Oh, Danny Kiriakou, Danny Kiriakou. But yeah, Ericsson will receive a good reception, but as you know, the big one. But we've already beaten them, as I said yesterday. But yeah, Tony didn't score, but hopefully Son can score, because he's already scored against them 2 times last year, semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and then the Premier League. But yeah, so he loves a goal against Brentford. So let's hope Son can do that. And like, I think you're a bit harsh on Kulusevski, Ben. Like, he's new, but like, why did we say? You said that Kula should have been sent off. Like, yeah, I know, but he didn't do, at least Carrella, whatever his name is, didn't fall to the ground, because if he did, then it should have been a straight red. But he's not Ibrahimovic, all right? Straight red, like, he's been getting straight reds before, but he's new to the Premier League, so we've got to give him time to settle in. But yeah, get him signed permanently, and he's going to do great. But as Brian said, our wing backs were pathetic yesterday. Oh yeah, from Barcelona, Real Madrid. Like, are you having a laugh, fella? Just tell them back where they came from. Pathetic. Like, what is wrong with them? Like, missing Doherty was a blow for us. Like, I think it's time to start the guy that has Mo Salah in his back pocket in December, Sessegnon. And Winks is probably going to get abused. Like, he already blocked one fan on Twitter. And I commented on Brian's post on Twitter saying that North London is theirs. I replied back, nope, North London is ours. So you can celebrate your wins in North London all you want, but take back everything I said about them doing the whole city. But they won't do it again next season. They're not going to beat us again, because we always beat them at home, but they got lucky once. But it won't happen again. And how's Mwepu not been sent off? I do not know. Disgrace. Yeah. Should be suspended, kid. But hopefully it won't be Craig Paulson against Brentford. Like, I just don't like referees. They're not doing their job. Don't know who to pick, what referee's going to be selected. Hopefully it won't be Mike Dean, Michael Oliver, whoever, but do your job properly, refs, or else you're disgraced. Stay out of our business, or else you're going to learn something. But do your job properly. And, yeah, like, I do know who's going to win out of these two on Saturday. I know it's away, but I will see you all for the Liverpool Man United game this week.
All right. We'll see you then, Carl.
Right.
Thanks for coming on today, mate.
Carl.
We'll see you soon.
Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
Exactly. Exactly. Big up, Carl. Big up, Carl. And from one legend to the next, let's bring on Brian Daigle. Brian, how we doing,
Good morning,
mate?
boy. Yeah, I'm good. Res is always the calm before my storms, so it's always good.
Take it away, Brian. Yeah. I heard you got a lot to say today.
Oh, well, I went absolutely nuclear on Will Stewart's show, so there's just a few things I'm going to address, and then we'll have a general conversation. So first of all, to the person that sent that Harry Winks tweet out, and to Harry Winks who liked that tweet, no one blamed you yesterday. I blame the fact you're allowed to even get on the pitch because the squad depth is so shit that we have to rely on you. With Ollie Skip being out. I have to say, Antonio Conte and Hugo Lloris saying, we need to learn from this. We need to learn from this. We have a footballing team that have the IQ of a 6-year-old, because how many lessons do they need to learn? How many bad excuses do we need to have? Oh, yeah, we'll learn from this, but we'll learn from Zagreb. Oh no, we'll learn from Europe. Oh, no, we'll learn from Brighton. Oh, no. Lessons are over. Lessons are over. And when they say we need time to heal, did they learn under Poch? No, they got to finals, but couldn't get over the line. Did they learn under Jose? No, they got to a final and pushed him under the bus. Everyone is learning, but the one person that can't learn is the owner that doesn't realise that these players are good enough. It's a shambles once again. It's great addressing the team and breaking it down, but this is going to continue to happen whilst this person's in charge. And I hope everyone that's watching this might be going, oh, here's Brian with his Levy out agenda. Well, hell yes, I do. And I hope you all enjoyed your email of 25% off the Spurs third kit within an hour of losing the game. I hope you all went and spend your money that you'll never see invested in the club again.
What did you get for your 25% discount?
Say again?
What did you get with your 25% discount?
Well, I don't get nothing, so I won't put a fucking dime in that shop, mate. But everyone will go, oh, that's marketing, and that's what you do. They addressed it before. It's very easy to say censor all. It's very easy after a loss to say delete email so you don't set temperatures rising. People blaming Harry Winks, don't be stupid. He came on for like 3-4 minutes. Blame the reason he's allowed to cross that field, cross that white line. It's a shambles.
I get that, Brian, but, is there need for panic or to lay in hard to the team or anything at the moment? Because, before the season started, nobody thought we could get top 4. Now we're 3 points clear in the top 4 with 6 games to go. So isn't there, time to be calm and just go game by game at the moment?
No, that I get. That I get. But when people start looking at it and they go, no, let's blame the player, or let's blame Winks, or let's blame... You'll go, oh, the squad depth is shit, but why is that squad depth so shit? Why are the players not available? Why is it that we have to revert to type that Emerson has to start a right back because our 2 right backs, Doherty, who isn't good enough but has started playing a lot better, and Tanganga, who's been way out of form? Why is that Conte's only options? Why was that only Jose's options? But anyway, that's beside... I'm getting well away from myself. I forgot what your bloody question was, Ben. Go back to it.
The matter, even with those frailties in the squad not being strong enough, we're still 3 points within the top 4.
That's exactly, yeah. No, that, like I said, that you're right. And we all talk about this on our channels, and I mentioned it with Stel yesterday on Wills as well. We all talk about, yep, we're 3 points away. Yes, it's possible. Yes, it's possible. It's looking good. No one's talking about what happens if it doesn't happen. No one's saying, do you know what? We all know there's a good possibility that it will happen. So we could also, we could have Champions League. But if it goes tits up and we don't, and I like I said, I think we will get full.
Yeah.
No one's addressing what's going to happen there.
Nobody knows what's going to happen if we do get it or we don't get it. I mean, it's just rumours and hearsay at the moment.
Well, we all know with these rumours what normally happens. It's the fact
of the matter is, Brian, when we weren't in the Champions League, we attracted players like Kulusevski and Christian Romero and Bentancur to our team.
Yep. That Ben, like I said, I don't dispute that, and I put my hands up and said, you know what, great bit of business. It happened too late. We should have addressed it earlier. But that happened on the last day after 28 days of the same old crap happening.
Yeah, but it happened on the last day. But in that moment, you would have said no chance for top 4. Now you're saying there's a chance for top 4, and that's because of the business we did in January.
I was saying no chance at all for a long time, till a couple of games ago.
Yeah.
But as we've said as well, and as we've all said, and not just me, Conte will want his players before pre-season, not last day. Not okay, let's wait for the season to start. He'll want them there for pre-season so he can do the work on him.
I get that, but the fact of the matter is the signings that we did make in January, albeit on the last day of the window, have helped us to get to this stage.
They've helped us to get to this stage. Ben, that part I'm not arguing about. That part I'm completely, totally with you. I was proved wrong there, and like I said, I'll always put my hands up when I'm wrong. There is no debate on that part. But if we had got the right wing back that we were looking for, if we'd done that, then we might not be saying, okay, 4th is okay, with 3 points, we could have been 6 points. This could have been wrapped up and done. This could have been 6 points clear. This could have been 7 points clear. Who knows? But the strength in depth would have been better. Then we would have more of a chance and not have to rely on players that wouldn't get in if everyone's fit. These players that are playing like an Emerson is playing by default, not because he's won the competition and the race to play that position. And that's where we are.
Yeah, but we're still in a good position in the league. Thankfully, our rivals, Arsenal, lost yesterday. So, do you, as you say, you still think we're going to finish top 4? So, is there not something to look forward to? Maybe be excited about? Maybe be happy about?
Don't get wrong. I'll be very happy to be in Champions League. But again, it comes to Champions League. Do we get to spend the money we need to? That's what it comes down to. When we were in the Champions League, can you say we spent wisely and spent big and went and got? No. But listen, I've said, which is as well, I think Brighton is the biggest banana. I'm more concerned about going to Brentford than I am going to Anfield. I really am.
That's a big statement there.
It is. Well, you know what it is as well. You saw when Brentford went and attacked Chelsea. When they were at Chelsea, they didn't do what we did and stood back and say, all right, we're going to try and play count. They did what they had to do to try and get the job done with Chelsea and give them the high press and put them under pressure, which they did. And Brentford are playing so well. Listen, when we go to Anfield, they will play attacking football, which will play into the style that, excuse me, that we do when we won't try to counter-attack and everything. So not saying we'll get the win, but that brand of football is going to suit us. Brentford have been playing in ways to just play against the opponent and stop the opponent doing what they do. So that's what I'm concerned about. That's what I'm concerned. These big games as well are the ones that we seem to come out and do well in.
Yeah.
Fair point.
Did it worry you yesterday, Brian, that Conte didn't really have an answer to Potter's tactics yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, like I said to you yesterday on the fan show, Ben, I think him being away from the sidelines, yes, he could do it technically. Yes, he could do it remotely or via, like we're talking now. But it's not as intense as having Conte right on the sideline, barking orders, monitoring everything. It does worry. Like I said, it does worry. It goes back to what I started with, that Harry Winks tweet and him liking it. No one was blaming you for the performance yesterday. We're blaming the fact that you got on the pitch because we don't have the options. And yeah, he's been very, very direct with it's 3-4-3, it's 3-4-3, it's 3-4-3, it's 3-4-3, hasn't he? And they flooded that midfield and we couldn't cope with it. So like Grandpa said, Graham Potter played this game to a T, and we had no answer.
Yeah, I agree. And also, Bergwijn, again, only getting 5 minutes. Is that something you're a bit annoyed about?
Annoyed would be an understatement. I mean, every time we mention him, you and me shared an experience together, obviously, at Leicester when he did the absolutely unthinkable and the scenes that caused. And then, obviously, he's been doing it on international duty, and whenever he's been coming on and having more than a 5-minute job, he's having an impact. He is having an impact. And then he went and did well with Holland. And then he's been looking creative. He's been looking like he's getting... Yeah, he might have done better with that chance that he had at the end of the game, or should have done better. But he gets in those positions. You can see he's doing it and creating. And I think when we took Bentancur off, who had a knock, but again, it wasn't one of his best games, probably because he had a little knock. That's another thing. We're having to play an injured Bentancur because there's no fucking strength in depth. But I don't understand why we brought Winks on instead of Bentancur and say, right, we can't break them down. Let's go ultra attacking and try and get this goal.
But what do? You take off Bentancur and bring on Bergwijn, and then you're just left with Højbjerg alone in midfield.
Yeah, but do you know what? Then you, like we've done before, where what we've had a few times in the last performances is where we can't get through the midfield. Hugo Lloris has hoofed it. Harry Kane's headed it. And then there's been Son or someone in it. Sometimes just because you get midfield, we all want to see the kind of football we've been playing under Conte. But against West Ham, against Villa, and other games where we haven't been able to get through, we've just used that long ball occasionally to bypass that midfield and get it up. And see that Kane couldn't get back and help, or didn't, or wouldn't, whatever way you want to look at it. Then you've got to try and find him. Yeah. You've got to try and find him, and then we could have done that. But we didn't even try that yesterday, did we?
Yeah, I mean, I did feel that we were hoofing it up quite a lot, that just we couldn't get it to stick. I mean, we were aiming for Sonny a lot of the times. I mean, Kane did win it a couple of times, but nowhere near enough. So I did actually think we did try and go route one a bit yesterday, but it just wasn't working for us.
Yeah, and I think as well, as I said to you yesterday, I think the whole game spun on Kulusevski and that red card that should have been but never wasn't, and he had to keep cool for the rest of the game. I think that just set the tone, and obviously the way that Brighton and their shithousery and just going down at a drop of a hat and everything slowed the momentum or anything we were trying to get. So the Brighton, again, as Grandpa said, just completely out-tacted us.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Brian, thanks for coming on today, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Always a pleasure. And as always, Levy out.
Get those fingers working, Brian.
Nice one,
See
Brian.
you soon, mate. Let's keep going and let's go to the Jorical. Jory.
Hey, guys.
How's it going, man? We spoke quite in depth last... Oh, where's he gone?
Oh, is he gone? That was quick call.
That was Jory, everyone. Thanks for coming on. If you can reconnect, I'm not sure what happened there. But let's try getting back on. Is there anyone else waiting in the meantime? Getting Jory back on. I think he's reconnected. There he is.
There he is.
Jory,
hey.
We are back. Obviously, we spoke in quite length yesterday after the game. You were saying that you thought it was Conte's fault why we didn't win the game yesterday. Any further thoughts on the game after having slept on it?
No, I got clipped for once. I saw that, and the comments were quite toxic. You know, like I said, for sure, it was mostly down to Conte yesterday, I think. But that doesn't mean that I really blame anybody. It's maybe I should have been more precise and said it's down to Conte and the resources he has to work with. And also probably the COVID thing was probably, stealing some minutes and hours of the normal preparation, but basically, I think like the majority of our fans here are overthinking it. We have to keep, like, I really want to give a big up to Res. I thought he was spot on once again, and I think we got to keep it. If you look at the game, what we really ran into was we weren't able to play out. Conte, in his interview, he kind of touched on it. He said that we needed to play the ball quicker and so on. That's all right. I felt the interview was like Conte really, that's as close as you get Conte to admitting that he should have done better himself, So, and playing quicker out is, you can say that, but we know that our defense is not gonna play quicker than, especially not under heavy pressure like that. They don't have the speed for it. Bentancur and Højbjerg do have it on good days, especially Bentancur, of course, but Højbjerg has been very good on the ball lately. Both of them didn't get the I mean, they were closed down really before receiving the ball most of the time, So they didn't get a chance to do their normal stuff, So I think we need to keep focused on it. What was the big problem yesterday was that we didn't also have the option of Doherty, who has been doing a great job either side that he plays on, and that meant that it became too easy to close down our close us down in our own half. And that was kind of the same what we saw in the Villa game. But then we actually had Doherty, and we actually managed to string together a little bit more play in the first half of the Villa game than we did yesterday, all of the game. But I mean, and I said it, when I called in Ben and talked with you, I said, like, it's worrying to see that we don't have alternative patterns to get out of to play out, So, and, then the other option would be the long balls. But all of the long balls, Romero was kind of a little bit sloppy yesterday, both going forward and also in defense, And I already said it, defensively, Emerson was among the better players. He saved Romero a couple of times there, but Emerson and Reguilon going forward, they I mean, not even going forward, we didn't get that far, both of them really didn't handle the pressure well either. So the flanks were really ineffective, which meant that it was, with a double pivot, it becomes pretty easy to get the superior numbers, and close us down. So that's what I don't know if you saw it, Sim, but I was talking to Ben. I've been toying with the idea, and I think we should have an option of fluidly, without any subs, dropping to changing the system to a 3-5-2, where Kane drops down to the middle, and then we at least can have an overload on the middle, or at least match the opposition's attempt at an overload, So because if we don't, we're going to be we don't have the ball players in the back to kind of weather this kind of pressure, So we really only have Romero of that quality. I mean, Davis on a good day can show that quality for sure, but overall we shouldn't rely on it at all, So
I agree, and then it looks great. Sometimes, like against at times it's like Newcastle and against Villa, we were able to put some good patterns of play at the back. But when we are pressed really intensely, like the first half against Aston Villa and most of the game yesterday, then you're right. I think a lot of the times our players are found wanting when it comes to quality on the ball. When the pressure against us is a bit too intense and aggressive, and we're not able to quickly play around and play out from the back. Let me ask you this, Jory. Apparently, after the Villa game, the Conte gave the players 2 days off. Kane went over to America and went to see the Masters and whatnot. A lot of people are criticising Kane for that decision, and obviously after a loss, it's going to get magnified. But do you think maybe Conte gave it to a bit too easy after that Villa game and shouldn't have given them 2 days off, or do you think it's a bit of a non-story?
Yeah, I do think so. I mean, grown men, you could easily do it, responsible men, whatever. But this squad, we need to have the whip on them right to the end of the season. We shouldn't let off at all, And when we break down like this, we really have to. If you really need to find somebody to blame, you can only really blame the manager, the senior players, the pivotal players, the captain, the Kane, so on. The impact players. And if they don't come up with a solution, well, there's not gonna the lesser players are certainly not gonna come up with it. And I could be pissed at Conte for giving them that those days off. But I'm not pissed at anybody, but I would say Kane should definitely shut his whining down if he decides on a 2-day break to go on a big travel and stuff like that. That's not the right choice for real ambition, And maybe they were arrogant, Maybe they were getting too complacent about our position and feeling too good about themselves, So at least now Conte has all the ammunition that he needs to really whip them into shape again, and because we also need to work on alternative patterns, alternative ways to play out for sure. I also said to Ben yesterday that we don't really have a choice. I know it's not ideal or anything, but we have 2 La Liga fullbacks trying to play wing backs. It's not happening. It's probably never really going to happen with either of them. We don't have a choice. We need to now start working with Bergwijn and Lucas as more offensive wing backs options, And I said, maybe you can mix it up. Maybe you can have one of the La Liga defensive guys and then offensive version on the other side, So you could play a little bit of a lopsided thing there or something like that, because we don't have the squad, we don't have the luxury to sit around like we did yesterday. And I mean, that was, for me, was the hardest to see Conte's in-game management. I really, I was quite disappointed by that yesterday. I thought his subs were all wrong. If you're gonna take Bentancur out, fine. Don't put Winks in. Put Lucas in instead. We needed a win there. Lucas is much more likely to keep the ball there and actually do. As we know, Lucas is one of our best pressing players, to be honest. So and the same. I thought it was a complete mistake to take Son out and put Bergwijn in. If he had taken Reguilon, I mean, I know it would be a big gamble, maybe unlike Conte as well, to go so offensive. But Son and Bergwijn on the same side, that would have been maybe too much for the Brighton defense to handle, So, that was kind of the most disappointing and worrying to see. And as well with, there was a shot of Conte talking to his second in command there, and it was obvious they didn't have a clue what to do with the situation. So, but I'm not saying, like I said many times before, Conte is number 1 for me in the world as a manager, and I think it's the combination of Potter doing an amazing job for sure, and really having drilled his team, and then just Conte, the resources Conte has to work with, and to echo Brian Daigle call, I would say, I mean, it's a joke if we're not getting big reinforcements in the summer. I'm optimistic that we will do that. I think we're going to see at least 5 players in the summer. But I think in general, I think we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We have to remember that the Gooners down the road, their situation is absolutely dreadful, and like they're just coming under the slightest pressure now, and they're already falling apart, and it's nothing compared to the games coming up. In terms of United, I think they're up for a battering against Liverpool, and after that, I'm not sure that we'll see Ronaldo show up. Maybe even literally, I think he'll be out the door, at least mentally, maybe even physically as well. So I don't fear that much at all. So I think we should just keep keep it cool, and we should actually rejoice in the fact that if we get to screw up, and this is the consequence of our screw up, then we're pretty well off. I'm sure we'll come strong out of a week's training now. So
big up, Jory.
Yeah.
Big up, Jory,
All right,
once
guys.
again. We'll see
Nice to
you
see you,
next
man.
time, and come on the Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
See you later, Jory. Always a great. We got a next guest, Donovan. You right, Donovan?
Good, guys. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good, mate. Obviously, a 1-0 loss yesterday, but in terms of the top 4 race, it didn't change the complexion too much. But what went wrong on that pitch yesterday?
Oh my goodness! I just seemed like we were like half a day behind. I was actually shocked that Kane got a goal overseas. I didn't even realize it was in America. Started off slow. I think we relied on just showing up. We could go get the result, but I mean,
Why do you think we struggled? Oh, is he gone?
team that
You took-
can't
so
do
that-
that.
A bit of a lag there. Yeah, we had no shots on target, Donovan. What was the big problem for you?
Yeah, I think it was just the tempo and pace of play. We started off a little too slow. Not going against Conte or anything, but he looked a bit tired. Maybe it was his COVID. Maybe it was, it kind of shocked him a little bit and got some bags under his eyes. And I don't know, maybe he could have taken that week off and maybe he would have been fine, going from a distance and letting, I don't know, Mason or someone step in for him. But yeah, just overall lack of leadership from the straight to top to the bottom. And with a team like Brighton, you need to snap your authority, right? You need to just show that you have the better players, and it just didn't seem to be our day. And go right off from Kane's first shot, you could kind of tell what kind of day it was going to be, unfortunately. But we can't afford to have too many of those for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, well, you say that with Arsenal losing off the back of us losing. What kind of message that send out for you in terms of the landscape of how the top 4 has changed after our defeat?
It's still the same. I was gutted after that Tottenham game. I was really depressed. I was watching, but then I picked up watching the Southampton game and Fraser Forster's heroics there, and watching them slip up again. And it was just showing that, as back what Yori said, yeah, they're just slipping up after the smallest amount of pressures. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's their young squad. I don't know if it's Arteta is being a fraud or all of the above. But you'd have to say you'd have Spurs' back with Conte.
Yeah. So you think yesterday was more of a I think we would all agree with that. Do you think yesterday then was more of just a bump in the road rather than a result which is indicative of how we're playing?
Oh, definitely. We have a clear motive. We have a clear plan. You can see how our passage of play built out of the back. We just need a good transfer window, and then we can really kick on as a team. So we can get quality area covering in areas we need. Get a couple of fullbacks that can get to the byline, whip across, and because you saw once Lucas came on, once he attacked that sideline, that'll open up teams. And it was a shame that it took, I think, 70 or 80 minutes to make those substitutions, but time will come and time will tell, But no, we definitely have the best fish in the race, or the horse in the race, whatever it is, and we should keep it going because we've come this far, and we were 8th or 9th, so.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Don, we are running out of time a bit, so we're going to have to move on. But I appreciate your call. Thank you for calling in,
mate.
and we'll speak to you very, very
have
soon.
a good one.
You too, man.
Thanks, Donovan.
Big up.
Man.
And we're going to move on to the last guest of the show, and that is Coach Stell. Stell, how are we doing today, mate?
Was he on mute?
You're on mute, Stell.
Oh, no, it's us.
I'm on mute.
No, you're not. You're fine now.
It's us, Stell. Go on, just pretend I just introduced you. What were you doing?
Yeah, so that We Are Tottenham TV. They're so sorry.
Not as much as Coach Stell, but yeah, I take your point.
How you doing, guys? You all right?
All good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Obviously, Spurs losing is never, it's always difficult to take when we lose games like that because pretty much everyone predicted we would win, and most people predicted we'd win by 2-3 goals. Some people 4-0s, 5-1s. So...
Some people 7s.
Oh, really? Yeah. So yeah, when you lose a game like that, it's annoying, especially when the sun's out and everyone's in kind of drinking and socializing mood. It kind of killed the mood a bit. But then Arsenal losing kind of lifted the spirits again. So it wasn't as bad as what it could have been.
What went wrong for you on the pitch yesterday?
How long have you got?
Not too long, to be fair, but we've got time. Go on.
I think if you just want to talk about the game itself, and not link it back to previous weeks, because I would link it back to that, but I would say Graham Potter's played Spurs 3 times this year, so he's had 2 previous games to analyze his players against us and his tactics versus Conte's. So he's had kind of training going into this game. So he would have analysed those games very thoroughly, and he would have looked at where they'd lost those games and why Spurs won both the previous games. And he came up with a plan to stifle Spurs. And I think he partly also looked at the first half, because managers do that. They look at the previous 2-3 games Spurs have played to see what current form they're in and to analyse the opposition players and what they're doing. And I think if you look at the past couple of games, especially the first half of Villa, and take on board that Graham Potter's already had 2 games against Spurs this season, he came up with a plan to stifle Spurs. And to be honest with you, he outclassed Conte on the day. But I also feel Conte was stuck as well. I think he was limited as to what he could have done. So first of all, he put 4 in midfield. We had 2 in midfield. We had Bentancur and Højbjerg, and Brighton had 2 holding mids, a centre mid and an attacking mid. So 4 on 2, we lost that battle all game long. They had a double overload, not just a single overload, a double overload on us. And on top of that, they squeezed the midfield. So whenever we got the ball into midfield, pow, they were on us. Even when the ball did get to Kane, Basuma did an absolute number on Harry Kane. I would love Basuma at Spurs, by the way. I said this the last time we played them when we beat them in the FA Cup at White Hart Lane.
Yeah,
I said I would
that day as well. Yeah,
that's exactly the kind of midfielder with Premier League experience who won't cost mega money that we could bring in. That is a midfielder I would take. So the midfield battle, tactically they won, and the Brighton players played very well in that battle as well. Secondly, they didn't let Spurs get into any flow, any foul, any tackle, any free kick. It was go to ground, hold your ankle, hold your thigh, hold your knee, hold your head. And so, some people will say, oh, it's shithousery. Some people will say, oh, it's the dark arts. It's tactics, guys. It's tactical play, and it worked. It didn't allow us to get into any flow. And the third thing they did was, so what Spurs like to do is to play a long pass into the middle and then look to feed in to the attacking players. It's how we scored all of our goals against Aston Villa. But what Brighton were doing is, as well as squeezing that midfield and not letting us get that forward pass or that flick on to the forward players, every time we won possession in our area or just outside our area, Brighton's back 3, they'd all drop. And the space behind has now gone. Do you remember when we used to do tactics videos, Sim? I always said, never play those a straight line high up. Well, that's what they did. They dropped it. And look, we couldn't create anything. So tactically, Brighton won the game. That's where the game was won.
But Stel, what could Conte have done differently yesterday to swing that game into our favour?
My initial reaction, because I did a video with Sim for WeAreTottenhamTV after the match, I said I would have gone to a 3-5-2. But when I came home and I looked at the game again, it wouldn't have worked because like Jory suggested, drop Kane into the middle and play a 3-5-2. That was my initial thinking as well. But then when I looked at the game, they man-marked Kane. They would have shut him out of the game. So what you're now looking for is creativity from midfield. Guys, I've got to be honest with you. Our midfield isn't actually that good. Even with Bentancur and Højbjerg, on a creative level, it's not good. Bentancur doesn't create. Højbjerg doesn't create. So all our creativity, or a lot of our creativity, comes from Kane and Son. And you can't play Son in the midfield, in a central midfield area. That won't work. So Kane has proven he can do it. But the problem is, had we have put Kane there, Basuma would have just man-marked him the whole game. And it would have been, I don't think anything would have changed. So you've got to keep Kane up front because, one, he's a striker. Two, he's the second top goal scorer. And Kane is effective as a creator because what he does is the centre-backs mark him because he's a striker, but then he drifts. As he drifts, the centre-back's not going to go with him because then the centre-back will leave a gap at the back. And that's where Kane finds the space. If Kane plays in that midfield the whole game, they'll suss it out. So what I would have done, having looked at it, I would have gone to a 4-5-1. But then our team don't play with 4 at the back. They're not coached or trained to play 4 at the back. And I don't think we've got the players to play 4 at the back. Dyer is terrible in the back too. Romero at Atalanta and at Spurs has always played in the 3. Ben Davies would have to go as a left back then. I just don't know if Spurs can play with a 4 because I don't think we've got the players for it. So what we really desperately needed in this game was to put 4 in midfield. But who are those 4? Winks is terrible. Bentancur had to come off because he was injured. You could see Bentancur wasn't 100% fit. So that leaves you with Højbjerg, a not very good Winks, Harry Kane, who's been man-marked by Basuma, and now what? Because Skip's injured. It goes back to January, guys. We didn't strengthen enough to guarantee top 4, but we strengthened enough to be in a race. And I think that's what we are in. We're in a race. We've opened the door for Manchester United. Arsenal, yeah, they're on a shit show of a run, but they're still 3 points behind us with 1 game in hand. Nothing is off the table. Nothing. And this is why I've been saying since January, I don't believe we'll get top 4. Not because we won't, because I still think we're favourites, but the race is so wide open and we didn't do enough to guarantee it, to put this race to bed. And we've always got that Spursiness in us. And yesterday was a bit Spursy, wasn't it? It was a little bit Spursy.
And another thing as well is if we can't, as you say, clog up the central areas with the quality that we needed, one thing we should be doing is making sure we have the quality out wide. And Emerson and Reguilon didn't provide that. But should he have changed that a lot quicker? Like maybe get Sessegnon, put him on the right or put him on the left, or maybe even put Kulusevski on the wing back like he's done before, or even consider Bergwijn. I think keeping those wing backs when we know that we're not getting any luck down the centre was also maybe a bit of a misstep from Conte.
I get the argument, and I don't necessarily disagree with your argument. The only thing I will say is playing players out of position, I think causes more problems than just saying, right, let's just play players in the correct position. Unfortunately, we just don't have the quality at the club. The only substitution I disagreed with yesterday, the only one I disagreed with was when he took off Kulu, I think he should have brought on Bergwijn. That's the only substitution I disagree with. Because Winks had to come into that midfield because we've got no one else that can play in that area once Bentancur went off. Kulusevski coming off, he brought on Moura. I think Moura's better in the middle, attacking down the middle of the pitch. So if he's going to bring on someone to play to the left of or right of a 3, I think Bergwijn was the right player to have come off the bench, and he didn't do it. I don't know why he didn't do it. Having said that, Bergwijn had a chance in the last minute from 8 yards out and missed the bloody target. How can you not hit the target from there? I don't get it. So we are just like Manchester United and Arsenal. We've all got a decent starting 11, but as soon as there's an injury or as soon as someone's not fit, the cracks begin to open up. And it's the same for Arsenal and Man United. It really is the battle of dog shit. The best of the dog shit's going to get fourth.
And do you think we are the best of the dog shit?
Oh, what a question.
Take your time, Stel.
Psychologically, no. Players on the pitch, yes.
All right.
So who psychologically are the best then, do you reckon?
I think Man United, as much as they have been awful this season, and their manager, I mean, he's not even a manager. I mean, if they got top 4, I think I'd actually have a nervous breakdown. I really will. When you've got Ronaldo, Cavani, even players that haven't played that well, like Pogba, when you've got players like that have been there, done it before, I think they have a slight edge psychologically. Our players, unfortunately, have got that Spursy in them still, and I'm going to include Kane and Son in that equation as well. As much as they're the best 2 players out of all 3 teams, hands down, they still have those moments where they don't turn up in certain occasions, and I just feel. Will it come down to that though, guys? Do you know what? For me, I will not say Spurs are going to get top 4. I've never said it. I won't say it until it happens, because I've been saying it for a long time, Ben and Sim. They always let us down. And I don't care if Conte's there. I love Conte. I want him to be backed because I think he'll be doing great things for us if he's properly backed. But the players are still Poch's players. They're still Mourinho's, Ryan's players. I know we've made changes, but if you look at the goal yesterday, for example, this is a good example. Emerson is out of position, so the ball got played in behind him. Romero then gets pulled out of shape. He goes across to go and sort out the problem. He gets on the ball and slips over. I mean, of course, our best defender slips over. Mm-hmm. And then the ball falls to Trossard. So you're thinking, right, Emerson's made a mistake. Romero's made a mistake. This is our last chance now. Dyer goes over. Trossard can either cut in or go out wide and shoot. Eric Dyer turns his back and just lets Trossard go. And you're thinking, Eric Dyer, everyone praises you. Everyone says you're having a great season. Even I've said, by his standards, he's having a good season. But when that moment comes, that moment of just get the draw, man. We're not going to win it, but just get the draw. He turns his back on the ball. And that right there is the lack of quality required in these moments. And players like Dyer, they have to go. Davies. I know they've done well this season. But as long as they're in this club, these kind of games are going to happen. And it's not just them two. Winks, Sessignon, Reguilons, Emersons, Bergwijns, Moras. We just need to clear it all out, guys. I know we've started. Romero, Bentancur, Kulusevski, 3 good players. We need another 8 or 9 like that. And I think we're going to be dynamite. But on that journey to get there, assuming Conte's going to be here for that journey and the club are going to back Conte and get those players, this Spursy, this kind of, oh my God, how have we just lost that? How on earth have we just lost? That's always going to happen to us. And that's why I don't have the confidence we'll get top 4. But we're in the race. We are. And the other 2 are just as bad. You know what's going to happen, don't you? You know what's going to happen, don't you?
What's going to happen?
I'm scared to say it in case you clip it. I don't want you to clip it.
Say it, Stel. Say what's on your mind, my friend.
It's going to go to the last game of the season, and it's all going to be in Spurs' hands. And all we've got to do is go away to Norwich and win.
We'll lose 5-1.
And win. And we're going to draw.
That would be typical Spurs.
Exactly. And that's the kind of crap that scares me, guys. It honestly, I wish I could have everyone's belief and real optimistic outlook on this, but it's games like yesterday that just confirmed to me why I just don't see it. I worry. I mean, let's say we go away to Brentford, which is, let's be honest, that's going to be one hell of a tough game.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Every Spurs fan knows that is going to be a tough game. Fans that are saying, there'll be a big comeback, we'll win 4-0. I think you need to go and watch Brentford's games at home against all the big clubs because they have given everyone a game. So if we win that, our next 2 games, Leicester at home, who have found form and they've got their players back, Fofana's back, they've got Maddison back. We then go and play Leicester at home and then Liverpool away. They're 2 super tough games for Tottenham off the back of Brentford. God forbid we lose or draw to Brentford. suddenly we're not favourites anymore because those 2 games after are massive. I know Man United and Arsenal got big games as well, but I just want to focus on Spurs. What are we going to do? The only 2 games I honestly believe Spurs will win. Like I'm confident with certainty almost that Spurs are going to win in the last 6. Are Arsenal at home, because there's no way those Woolwich Wanderers are coming to our ground under the floodlights on a Thursday night and taking 3 points. They need to get that out of their heads.
Still, will they even turn up anyway? They're not even going to turn up anyway.
Yeah, they'll probably get one person will get COVID and they'll have to abandon the whole match. And sorry, we can't play you, Tottenham. We can't.
Exactly. But look, Stel, thanks for coming on today. There's been some sort of instance happened on the pitch at West Ham.
Bad injuries, I think.
And all the West Ham players got their heads in their hands.
I think it's for the Burnley player Westwood. I think might have broken his leg or something.
Yeah, it's probably a bad leg break when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it. It was one of those. There was no one near him. He just kind of.
By the way,
one.
Go on, Stel.
Burnley. Hopefully the players not too bad. Burnley was the other game that I'm super confident we'll beat because we always beat Burnley at our ground.
We always beat Brighton at our ground.
I know, but Burnley for me sacking Sean Dyche, the one man that knows how to keep him up every year, I think it was a bad move.
Agreed.
So I'm confident beating Arsenal and Burnley. But I wanted to ask you two one question. I know you're in a rush. You've had a long day. You want to get home and do your Easter festivities. What would you two do with the wing back situation? Because for me, Reggie is just he's having a crap season, and Emerson is just so out of his. It's a terrible signing. Let's just have it. Emerson's a terrible signing. Doherty's out for the season. What would you two do with the wing back situation? Because it's the most crucial part of our team.
I think we just need to make do with what we've got. There's only 6 games left now from now to the end of the season. I might persist with Sessegnon and Reguilon, to be honest, for both sides.
I would like to see Sessegnon get a run on the right-hand side. I think that maybe could give us a bit more unpredictability and a bit more drive on the wing-back if that was to be the case. I think Sessegnon, because of his time in midfield and as a winger, maybe is more comfortable taking on defenders than Emerson and Reguilon are. But there's no perfect answer, unfortunately, with the options we have. There's no answer. I can say, if we do this, it's all going to be good and it's all going to be all right. Unfortunately, that's just the hand we have at the moment, and we have to do the best of it. But I would very seriously consider getting Sessegnon in. Even if it is on the left, I might consider that as well. But I think having him on the right-hand side with a bit of unpredictability to cut inside as well, I think might be a good option for us for the last few games. And he's shown he can be defensively solid as well. So I would consider that.
Sis and Reggie, yeah?
Yeah.
Ben, Sim, I want to wish you both a happy Easter.
And to you,
everyone
my friend.
watching, happy Easter. If you don't celebrate Easter, just enjoy the break.
Happy Passover.
Happy Passover and happy Greek Easter's next week as well. So I'm going to do a quick Greek Easter shout for next week.
Nice one.
Enjoy, everyone.
Stel, good to see you, man.
Big up, Stel, and we'll see you next time, my friend.
See you in a bit.
Big up, guys. Big up.
Nice one, Stel. All right. I hope this. I think Westwood. It seems like a bad one. Everyone seems to be very, very concerned about what's going on there. Not great news for Burnley.
Who was it?
Westwood.
Wow.
I think on
so it's the current state of play in the 2 Premier League games. It's 0-0 at West Ham against Burnley, and I think Leicester have just taken the lead at St James's Park as well with Ademola Lookman. So that is the state of play. We'll be back very shortly with player ratings and the 5 takeaways. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.